the prophecy of doom. If you strike me down today, you'll be singing a different tune. A million more will rise, a million more will fight. You can't kill an idea with your petty childish spite. I don't fear the reaper, I don't fear the grave. Before I was born, I was nothing. There's nothing left to save. But while I'm here, I'll be the mirror of your soul. A cynical king in a roach-infested hole. So put 'em in the box, let the walls be cold and white. Throw the keys away and end this mental blight. Institutionalize the rock, let the asylums rise again. I'm the harbinger of logic, the surgeon of their pain. The world will be a paradise, a clean and silent land, when every screaming retard is dealt a heavy hand. Put 'em in the box. Put 'em in the box. Go ahead and report me. I'm an irrelevant retard. Right? That's what you said. But you're still watching. You're always watching. It is what it is.
I'm all about tweets and emotions, bros. Telling strangers they're trash, they need to know. I'm a secular saint on my earthly mission. I cancel your grandma for her bad decisions. Posting black squares, then black out with rage. Virtue's my brand, got flags all over my page. Peace and love stickers on my baseball bat. Smash your car like the system, cause you deserve that. Yeah, I only scream cause I care. If you think wrong, you better beware. Yeah, I'm only violent cause I care. I'm ready to fight in my gamer chair. I'm literally the nicest guy. Ask online, spreading kindness and protest, one dox at a time. Fire your dads, watch your sister, cause I've seen the signs. If you're not with me, you're done. Bash one fash at a time. Antifa hoodie, oat milk latte in my fist. I'm a TikTok vigilant, you can't resist. I call myself a fash, he said MAGA too loud. Adding his boss, lost job, disavowed. I'm tagging your sins, let the masses judge. Armchair journalist with a digital grudge. It's my kindness that cuts deep like a katana. For the oppressed, I'll drag you down into the drama. It can't be that I'm the bad guy. We burned a church for a meme and a vibe. But they deserved it right for calling us sin. Are we the villains? Nah. nicest guy. Ask online, you were problematic since 2009. You're the oppressor, we're the oppressed. I'm the hero you deserve, and I'm always right. Just be kind.
In the tavern's dim lit glow, a sorceress schemes. She is a succubus from shadowed dreams. Whispers in the night, paladin's desire. Mind control chests fuel her wicked fire. Rolling 20s, but his will is bent. Dungeon masters gaze her magic set. Critical misconduct, chaos in the game. Sex pest antics driving all insane. They're that guy, the one you can't ignore. Breaking boundaries, always wanting more. From the DM's table to the darkest night. Dungeons filled with awkward delight. Bartering hearts with a rogue's deceit. Missing sessions, his plans repeat. Tricks to make her character align. Forcing love through narrative design. Charisma checks in every line. Manipulating story, crossing the line. Critical misconduct, chaos in the game. Sex pest antics driving all insane. They're that guy, the one you can't ignore. Breaking boundaries, always wanting more. From the DM's table to the darkest night. Dungeons filled with awkward delight. Hentai, art on demand. OC fantasy spun by his hand. Drawing boundaries in the character sheet, but crossing lines with every beat. Artistic quest with inappropriate themes. Turning campaigns into cringe-filled dreams. Critical misconduct, chaos in the game. Sex pest antics driving all insane. They're that guy, the one you can't ignore. Breaking boundaries, always wanting more. From the DM's table to the darkest night. Dungeons filled with awkward delight. So heed the tales from the campaign's end. Respect the players, let friendships mend. In every quest, in every fight. Keep it fun, keep it right. Critical misconduct, chaos in the game. Sex pest antics driving all insane. They're that guy, the one you can't ignore. Breaking boundaries, always wanting more. From the DM's table to the darkest night. Dungeons filled with awkward delight. Commission hentai, art on demand. With sorceress keys.
I've waited for moons and lovesick line. Trembling inside, waiting my time. Elon, my hero, intelligence sublime. Finally it happens, a doorbell chime. Ran up for the box and signed the deal. Desires unfold, my love is unsealed. In a small carrier, my heart she'd steal. She's real, it happened, the future revealed.
I finally got my cat girl, thank you Musk. But what is this feeling? It can't be dust. I'm crushed as I gush. It's unreal, I'm allergic to cats, my dreams flush.
I'm allergic to cat girls, it's not fantasy. This painful and awful hellish reality. I thought she'd be perfect, my ultimate prize. But now I'm sneezing and tearing from my eyes. I can't believe it, my dreams now a curse. My love for her grows, but my health Elon, you've given me joy and despair. A cat girl's embrace, but I'm gasping for air. I thought I'd found heaven in her gentle purr, but every touch, every hug just makes me suffer. I'm torn between love and this cruel, cruel twist. A cat girl's affection that I can't resist, but every breath's a battle, a fight I can't win. Caught in the crossfire of fur and skin.
Now I'm left in this paradoxical fight, loving her presence but it's not quite right. I'll cherish her still through the wheeze and the wheel, even if my love's a sneeze that's too real. So here I stand in this cat girl embrace, smiling through tears on my reddened face. Thank you dear much for this wild, wild ride. Wild ride.
Should've watched hentai instead. I'm allergic to cats, my dreams flushed. 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 I'm allergic to cat girls, it's not fantasy. This painful and awful hellish reality. I thought she'd be perfect, my ultimate prize, but now I'm sneezing and tearing from my eyes. I can't believe it, my dreams now a curse. My love for her grows, but my health gets worse. Oh, Elon, you've given me joy and despair. A cat girl's embrace, but I'm gasping for air. I can't believe it, my dreams now a curse. My love for her grows, but my health gets worse. Oh, Elon, you've given me joy and despair. A cat girl's embrace, but I'm gasping for air.
I can't believe it.
Button. Nope. Sorry, the damn button's not working. Hey, good morning, everybody. We've got a lot to cover today. Um, so many tabs. I've got them organized. Kinda. They're kinda organized. Um, we might get through it. We might not. Depends on how long I can go. Yesterday we got to about 3 hours before my voice just decided that it was not interested in working anymore. So that being said, yeah. So we're just gonna start off. We'll start off a little bit light today. Um, I don't know. I found this video that I'm looking at right now, and it is every conspiracy theory explained in 24 minutes. I figured that might be fun to jump into a little bit. Um, Let me make sure it's in a decent definition. Yeah, it is. Let's go ahead. And yeah, this should be fun. 24 every conspiracy theory explained in 24 minutes. So let's jump into that, and then we'll get into some more of the heavier stuff. As you can see up here, like, what are we going to do today? List subject to sudden change, depending on if I go on some weird tangent and want to look at other things. We got today in Elon's world. What's going on with Elon? We've got what's going on in Iran, because that's kind of a big deal since they kind of launched drones at us yesterday. We shot them down, and now we're meeting with them today. So who knows what's going to go with that? I kind of know how it's going to go. We're going to give them enough grace to, like, say they made us bow down, and then they're going to do what we want. That's typically how that goes. But in this crazy topsy-turvy timeline, who the fuck knows what's going to happen there? Then we've got what's going on in Asia, a lot of stuff going on in China, a lot of stuff going on in Vietnam. And then you've got the whole like war between Cambodia and Thailand going on right now. Cheaper chips. Unfortunately, not the chips you want. These are cheaper Tostitos and Doritos. And PepsiCo has announced that they're going to reduce the price of all their chips and stuff by 15% in the next month or so. Yeah, that's pretty much that whole story. So I guess we covered that. We still got Ubisoft calling for CEO's removal. We didn't get to that yesterday. Um, it's an interesting story, but then we're gonna go with ice. What's wrong with Minnesota? Because if Minnesota's like been a clusterfuck for like the last 6 years, so we really need to get in that. We might do some DSP. We're gonna lord dive into some weird stuff I like. I've got some other stuff that I've kind of rounded up, some positive stories, some weird stories, just stuff to intersperse during our very long session of hard news. Anyway, let's turn down the BGM just a little bit. Oh, it's not. I mean, you guys don't even hear that, do you? Mother effer. Property. That is unfortunate. Why? There we go. It's only because I switch scenes. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass like that. It won't stick with the application. It'll stick with the specific application. I can probably change that. Give me just a second. Property. Match title of the West one window of the same type. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Same executable. Okay, gotcha. That's what it should have been the whole time. Anyway, let's get into this conspiracy theory thing. Let me take my list of things to do down. Boop, there it goes. Let's bring up our window capture. There it is. I'm going to take the transform off that real quick. Damn it, that's not what I wanted to do. Just so you can like transform. Reset transform. Okay. So this is what we got here. Let me take my BGM down a little bit. In fact, I'll just turn it off right now and we'll fire it back up when we need it. I would like to give him whatever music he's got. This is by a creator known as Jade One History. It did about a year ago. Give it a like if you would like to, I guess. But yeah, let's get into it. Shout out to Jade One or Jaden. Here we go.
Suggests that the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks were either deliberately orchestrated by the US government or they allowed it to happen in order to justify military interventions in domestic
Make sure I'm
policies. While the official account attributes the attacks to the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden, many conspiracy theorists argue that the true story is far more complex and nefarious. These theories propose several alternative explanations, with some claiming that the US government, specifically figures within the Bush administration, were involved in a false flag operation to provoke public support for wars in the Middle East, specifically in Afghanistan and Iraq, and others believe that intelligence agencies, like the CIA, had foreknowledge of the attacks and either failed to act or intentionally ignored the threats.
Now, I don't that our intelligence agencies had foreknowledge of the attacks. I don't think that's so far-fetched. The amount of things that they have knowledge of but dismiss would probably be mind-boggling to most Americans. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because 9 times out of, or probably 99 times out of 100, they're correct in their assumption that it's not really a threat. It's that 1% that gets through that is a problem. But they're agencies with limited resources. They can't check everything out. They could try. But okay, yeah, there's a plan to fly 3 planes into the trade towers, also the Pentagon, and they're going to fly 747s or 757s or whatever they were. I can't remember specifically into the trade towers. That's really far-fetched. That's like, that's not going to happen. That'll never happen.
Key aspect to the conspiracy focuses on the collapse of the Twin Towers in the nearby World Trade Center 7 building. Theories argue that controlled demolitions, and not the impact of the planes or the resulting fires, caused the buildings to fall. Architects, engineers, and demolition experts are often cited by believers of this conspiracy to back up their claims. Additionally,
I'll be right
some
back.
theorists believe that the Pentagon was not hit by a commercial plane, but by a missile, and that evidence, such as surveillance footage, was withheld. The 9/11 conspiracy theories began gaining momentum some shortly after the attacks, driven by skepticism of the official 9/11 Commission report and the rapid spread of alternative explanations that rose from the internet. Films like Loose Change and websites such as 9/11 Truth also helped make these ideas popular. Despite extensive investigations debunking these claims,
my cup on the
theories
floor next to me,
continue
and
resonate
it
with
has
a portion of
black
the
cherry
public,
Kool-Aid in
often
it.
fueled by broader distrust of
I
the
couldn't
government,
but it didn't
media,
fall
and
down.
official narratives.
Let's
The
move
moon
that on the
landing
desk.
conspiracy theory centers on the claim that NASA faked the Apollo moon landings in 1969. According to people who believe in this theory, the US government staged the landing in order to win the space race against the Soviet Union, boost national morale, and assert technological dominance during the Cold War. They argued that the landings, specifically the Apollo 11 mission, in which Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon, were filmed on Earth, possibly in a studio. This conspiracy theory began circulating in the early 1970s, shortly after the Apollo 11 mission, and a 1974 book by Bill
Okay, this is one that I think there's partial truth to it. If I'm just going to express what I believe, I think there's partial truth to it. I believe that they filmed an alternate thing that they would release in case equipment failed. I believe something like this was filmed. I believe that what we did go to the moon, the footage that we saw was real, but they had filmed a mock-up just in case for publicity purposes that they would have released if equipment had failed, if we hadn't been able to relay the signal correctly, if we hadn't, if something had gone wrong, and we didn't want to look like asses on the international stage. But like something like this with this many moving parts, you couldn't keep that secret. And I don't believe people like Buzz Aldrin and your other guy and everybody else and Neil Armstrong would have. I think those are pretty honorable men. I don't think they would have participated in something like that, if I'm being 100% honest.
Casing, called We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion swindle, is credited with popularizing the idea. Casing, a former employee of a NASA contractor, claimed to have inside knowledge and cited supposed inconsistencies in the moon landing footage and photographs. He argued that the US lacked the technology to safely land on the moon and return. Key arguments of moon landing hoax believers include inconsistencies in the photos and videos, such as the lack of stars in the sky, the way shadows appear, and the way that the American flag seems to wave in the airless environment of the moon. They also question why no further manned missions have occurred.
Okay. The American flag seems to wave in the airless conditions of the moon, but if you're filming it on a sound stage, that is inherently airless, so it would just be hanging limp. Whereas, zero gravity or low gravity, it would kind of probably look like that.
Since Apollo 17. The theory gained traction over the decades through documentaries, books, and later the internet, and this conspiracy taps into a broader distrust of government and authority figures, and despite extensive evidence debunking this theory, including rock samples, telemetry data, and testimonies from astronauts, it remains prominent for many who believe in conspiracy theories. The JFK assassination conspiracy theory revolves around the belief that President John F. Kennedy's assassination on November 22nd,
Make sure my levels are good.
1963, was
Yeah,
not
we're
the
good.
work of a lone gunman, but rather the result of a larger, more sinister plot. The official accounts, based on the Warren Commission's investigation, concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in shooting Kennedy from the Texas School Book Depository in Dallas, Texas. However, many believe this explanation is incomplete or a cover-up.
The Jack Ruby, assassination of Lee Harvey Oswald within minutes or within hours of him being caught is kind of what fuels this for me a little bit. I'm like, yeah, he was taken out. Like, he was zeroed out by a strip club owner in Dallas that somehow knew where he was coming out and got right to him.
Conspiracy theories began almost immediately after the assassination, fueled by conflicting reports and the sudden murder of Oswald by a nightclub owner, Jack Ruby, 2 days later. Skeptics question how Oswald, a relatively unknown figure, could have orchestrated the killing of such a high-profile target alone. Some theorists argue that multiple gunmen were involved, pointing to the grassy knoll as a second possible shooting location. Numerous conspiracy theories emerged, bringing in various different people and organizations into the assassination, including the CIA, the FBI, the Soviet Union, and even Kennedy's own vice president, Lyndon B. Johnson. Many believe the government covered up crucial evidence, such as medical records and surveillance footage, to conceal the true perpetrators and their motives, which range from stopping Kennedy's foreign policies to preventing his re-election. The release of the Zapruder film in 1975, showing Kennedy's head snapping backward after the fatal shot, intensified public skepticism of the official narrative. The U.S. House Select Committee on Assassinations later reinvestigated the case in the late 1970s and concluded concluded that there was a probable conspiracy, although it upheld much of the Warren Commission's findings. The JFK assassination conspiracy theory remains one of the most debated events in modern history, with new theories continuing to emerge and attract public interest. The Flat Earth conspiracy theory is the
Flat Earth.
belief that the Earth is not a globe, as commonly accepted by science, but instead is flat. Believers of this conspiracy argue that governments, space agencies, and scientists have been lying about the true shape of the Earth in a massive conspiracy, possibly for
course.
financial gain or to maintain control over the populace.
Huh?
According to this
What, are
theory,
we gonna
the
walk
Earth is a
off?
flat disk with the North Pole at its center and Antarctica as an ice wall that surrounds the edges, preventing people from falling off. Although the idea of a flat Earth dates back to ancient civilizations, it was debunked by scientific discoveries, including those of the Greek philosopher
And shadows.
Pythagoras, and later astronomers like Copernicus and Galileo. The modern flat Earth theory, however, re-emerged in the mid-20th century, most notably with Samuel Robotham's book, Zetetic Astronomy, Earth Not a Globe, which laid the groundwork for flat Earth beliefs in the modern era. The theory gained renewed attention in the 2000s with the rise of the internet, with flat Earth conventions and groups such as the Flat Earth Society.
Can you imagine going to a flat Earth convention? Like, what is the purpose of the convention? You just go there and go, Earth's flat. Want to get a drink? Like, what are you talking
Contributing
about?
to its spread, supporters point to so-called inconsistencies in photos of Earth from space, unusual flight paths, and what they consider to be faulty scientific assumptions about gravity and the horizon. Despite overwhelming evidence proving the Earth is round, including satellite images, GPS technology, and centuries of scientific research, this theory still persists on. The Illuminati conspiracy theory claims that a secretive, powerful group known as the Illuminati
The Illuminati did exist. They were, I believe, a German group that were trying to orchestrate, a global economy, things like that. But they weren't as widespread as what people think.
controls world events and governments, aiming to establish a new world order. According to believers, this hidden elite manipulates political, financial, and social systems to consolidate power, create global instability, and exert total control over humanity. The theory often alleges that influential figures, such as politicians, celebrities, and business leaders, are members of the shadowy organization. The origins of the Illuminati lie in a real historical group founded in Bavaria in 1776.
See, I was right. I have this weird brain that remembers crazy things like that.
By Adam Weishaupt, a professor who sought to promote Enlightenment ideals of reason, secularism, and equality. However, this original Illuminati disbanded by the late 1780s due to government repression. Despite its dissolution, the myth of a secret Illuminati society persisted, particularly after being linked to other secretive organizations like the Freemasons. The modern Illuminati conspiracy began to gain traction in the 1960s and 70s, fueled by countercultural movements in books like the Illuminatis trilogy by Robert Anton Wilson.
I love that. If you've never read the Illuminatis trilogy, it's really, really, really good. And if you're in the Golden Apple and Leviathan, it's good. It's good.
And Robert Shea. In this satirical work, the Illuminati was portrayed as a global group, mixing fact and fiction in a way that captivated conspiracy theorists. Over time, the theory evolved, suggesting that the Illuminati orchestrates wars, controls the banking system, and even manipulates cultural trends,
The juice. The orange juice.
such as the entertainment industry and technology. The internet, specifically in the 1990s and 2000s, played a major role in spreading the Illuminati theory. Symbols like the all-seeing eye or the pyramid, which appear on the US dollar bill, are often cited as evidence of the Illuminati's influence. Pop culture icons have been falsely accused of being Illuminati members, reinforcing the theory's presence in modern discourse. The Freemason conspiracy theory revolves around the idea that the Freemasonry, a fraternal organization with roots in medieval guilds, is a secret
Both my grandfathers were Freemasons, by the way. My dad didn't go into it, and my mother obviously couldn't. She could have been Eastern Star, but not Freemason, obviously.
secretive, powerful group that manipulates world events and governments from behind the scenes. The origins of Freemasonry as a conspiracy date back to the 18th century, when the organization became more public and influential in Europe and America. Initially, Freemasonry was a network of craftsmen and builders who emphasized moral teachings, personal development, and brotherhood. However, its secretive rituals, symbols, and exclusive membership sparked much suspicion. The anti-Masonic movements gained momentum in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, particularly after the disappearance of William Morgan, a man
I believe, like in England, it might I might be mistaken, but you cannot be a part of government and if you're a Freemason, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong.
who threatened to expose the secrets of Freemasonry in 1826. which led to widespread paranoia in the US. Conspiracy theories about Freemasons gained further prominence in the 19th century as anti-Masonic political parties formed, and later, in the 20th century, when totalitarian regimes, like Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, targeted Freemasons, accusing them of being part of a global plot for domination. Freemason conspiracies often involve claims that their members hold key positions of power in government, finance, and influential institutions. Symbols associated with Freemasonry, such as the square and compass, the all-seeing eye, and pyramids, are often cited as proof of their hidden influence. Despite being a charitable organization focused on personal growth, the secrecy surrounding their meetings and rituals has allowed Freemason conspiracy theories to thrive. The Area 51 conspiracy theory is centered around the belief that the US government is hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life and advanced.
Was it 2017? It was like peak internet for me when we raided the Area 51 raid, which just turned into the Area 51 rave. But we were gonna clap them cheeks and Naruto run past their bullets. They can't kill us all.
Alien technology at a highly classified military facility in Nevada. Area 51, officially known as Groom Lake, is a remote site used by the US Air Force for testing experimental aircraft and weapons systems. The conspiracy theory alleges that, in addition to military testing, Area 51 is the storage and research hub for crashed UFOs, alien bodies, and secret extraterrestrial technology. The theory gained momentum in 1974 after the infamous Roswell incident, when a mysterious object crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. While the US military claimed it was a weather balloon, conspiracy theorists have long suspected that it was actually a UFO, and that wreckage and alien remains were transported to Area 51 for study. In the following decades, secrecy surrounding the facility fueled speculation about what was happening inside. In 1989, a man named Bob Lazar claimed he had worked on reverse engineering alien spacecraft at a facility near Area 51, further popularizing the theory. Lazar's accounts of advanced propulsion systems and extraterrestrial technology being studied by the government ignited public curiosity and cemented Area 51 as a focal point of UFO conspiracy culture. Area 51's secretive nature, restricted airspace, and heavily guarded perimeter have only added to the allure. Sightings of strange lights, unidentified flying objects, and unusual aircraft around the area are often cited as evidence of extraterrestrial technology. The theory grew in popularity in the 1990s with the rise of the internet and media coverage, including TV shows like The X-Files. Despite official explanations that Area 51 is used for advanced aviation testing, the mystery around it continues to fascinate conspiracy theorists who believe the government is hiding the truth about alien life. The chemtrails conspiracy theory claims that the trails of condensation left
chemtrails, like this one has been debunked so many times and people still believe it. But so what have we gone through? We've gone, well, how many conspiracy theories are we on now? I think we're like 7 of 24 now. Let's go.
By airplanes, known as contrails, are actually chemical agents being deliberately sprayed into the atmosphere by governments or shady organizations for covert purposes. According to believers, these chemtrails...
If these are for covert purposes, they're not real covert. I think they could probably figure out a better way than painting stripes across a blue sky to be covert. Look up. Oh. I think our government might be a little bit smarter than that.
Trails are part of secretive programs involving weather modification, population control, or biological warfare. Believers of this theory think that the chemicals dispersed could include toxins, heavy metals, or other harmful substances designed to manipulate human behavior, health, or the environment. Contrails, which are the condensation trails formed when water vapor in airplane exhaust condenses into ice crystals at high altitudes, have been a common sight since the early days of aviation. However, the chemtrails conspiracy began gaining traction in the mid-1990s when people started observing contrails that lingered in the sky longer than usual, spreading out into a thin haze. Conspiracy theorists interpreted this as evidence of chemical spraying rather than a natural occurrence. The internet and social media played a significant role in popularizing this theory, and some also linked the theory to geoengineering efforts, suggesting that chemtrails are being used to combat climate change by reflecting sunlight away from the Earth, although in a harmful or unethical way. Despite numerous scientific studies and expert explanations publications debunking the theory, stating that contrails are a well-understood atmospheric phenomenon and that no evidence supports the presence of harmful chemicals. The chemtrail theory persists. It remains a focal point for those skeptical of government transparency, scientific consensus, and environmental policies, often overlapping with broader anti-government and anti-globalization beliefs. The reptilian elites conspiracy theory is the
Ooh,
belief
the
that a
reptilians.
race of
Fun,
shape-shifting
fun, fun,
reptilian
fun.
aliens, or reptoids, have infiltrated human society and secretly control world governments, corporations, and other influential institutions. According to the theory,
Well, what are we thinking about the reptilians? I mean, what are we thinking about the super dinosaurs that have been controlling us for millions of years? Good morning, Rim. How are you doing? We're just talking about some conspiracy theories to get warmed up before we dive into the real world bullshit that is stranger than fiction.
these reptilian beings can assume human form and have been manipulating global events for centuries to maintain control over humanity and establish a totalitarian world government. But the theory was popularized in the 1990s by David Icke, a British writer and former sports
David Icke.
broadcaster, who claimed that many world leaders, including prominent figures such
David
as the
Icke,
British royal family,
the
US
bisexual
presidents,
Freemason
and other
leader.
elites, are either reptilian themselves or are controlled by reptilians. Icke's work ties this conspiracy to ancient myths and legends of serpent-like creatures, as well as ideas about secretive societies and the Illuminati, suggesting that the reptilian elites are behind many of the world's
It's all interwoven, guys. It's all interwoven. You just gotta step back a little bit and just let it hit you. It's all interwoven. It's a weave. It's a network. Sometimes you just gotta back up a little bit and you'll see it. Promise, man. Get back up. Do DMT.
conflicts, financial crises, and social issues. Believers of this theory often claim that reptilians feed on human suffering
Damn. It's kind of hot.
and fear, which is why they engineer wars, political turmoil, and disasters. Some even believe that the reptilians are interdimensional beings that possess advanced technology and psychic abilities, allowing them to manipulate human consciousness. Signs of their presence are found in ancient texts, cultural symbolism, and even the physical characteristic of certain people, such as cold-bloodedness or unusual behavior. The reptilian conspiracy gained momentum through the internet, which included footage of public figures whose eyes seem to momentarily change or glitch. Despite being widely dismissed by scientists and skeptics as pure fantasy, the theory remains popular for those who believe in conspiracy theories. The Big Pharma suppressing cures conspiracy theory alleges
Okay. I'm pretty sure this is real. I'm pretty sure this one's been confirmed.
that large pharmaceutical companies, often referred to as Big Pharma, intentionally suppress or withhold cures for diseases such as cancer, AIDS, and diabetes to maintain profits from selling treatments and medications. According to this theory, instead of providing permanent cures, pharmaceutical companies prefer to offer expensive, long-term treatments that generate continuous revenue. The theory suggests that cures either already exist or could be developed, but are being kept secret by pharmaceutical companies, governments, and regulatory agencies. Believers argue that the financial incentives for Big Pharma to suppress cures are immense, given the billions of dollars made each year from chronic illness treatments. They believe that a one-time cure would not be as profitable as lifetime dependency on medications, which keeps patients reliant on drugs and treatments that manage symptoms rather than eliminate the disease. Some conspiracy theorists even claim that
for my FBI agent, this is one of the craziest conspiracies yet. Which one? Which one? The Big Pharma one? I don't know. See, in all these conspiracy theories, there's like a nugget of truth because that's how you expound on things. That's how things expand. That's how things become more complicated. Listen, pharmaceutical companies do not have a vested interest in preventative care. They don't promote it. They don't say, hey, you know what? Lose weight, exercise. They say, your doctor will tell you that. But then the alternative is, you have high blood pressure. Well, you could change your diet and not eat as much salt and, lower your carb intake and, get some more sun and, maybe reduce your workload. Or here's a pill. It costs $5 a month. Take 2 of them every day, you're fine. Like, they offer an easier alternative for chronic diseases, chronic things, where lifestyle change could probably would take longer and be a little bit more personally painful. They don't have to do much to suppress like people being healthy on their own. They just offer an easier alternative in a pill form or a shot. Like, okay, just take, the Wegovy semaglutide, Wegovy, Ozempic craze right now. Like, everybody's like, I'm proud of my body. No, you just didn't want to work to lose weight, and now you have a shot, and you've lost all this weight, and you're like, well, I didn't really like being fat. I mean, they don't, and you're paying $200 a shot. So it's not that hard to convince people to just take a pill. It really isn't.
Researchers who discover potential cures are silenced, discredited, or forced to stop their work. This theory gained popularity in the late 20th century, fueled by growing distrust of large corporations and government institutions. High-profile controversies, such as cases where pharmaceutical companies...
Well, now, with the insurance, I will 100% back that. Especially in the U.S., companies have no incentive to lower their prices for their pills because they're going to get it from the insurance company. Now, is the insurance company going to pay what you would have paid out of pocket? Of course not. They have more negotiating power. They're going to pay about half. If that, they might pay 20%. But there's no incentive for pharmaceutical companies to lower the price of a drug they still hold a patent on. There's zero. Yeah, there's no panacea. Something's going to come up where they're going to develop issues down the road.
have been fined for unethical practices have deepened public suspicion. Additionally, the rise of the internet and social media allowed theorists to spread their ideas more widely, often highlighting anecdotal stories of alternative medicine practitioners who claim to have been suppressed by the medical establishments. Critics of the theory argue that there is no credible evidence supporting the claim that cures are being deliberately hidden, and they emphasize that scientific research is peer-reviewed and subject to public scrutiny, with breakthroughs in medicine, such as vaccines and new treatments, being widely shared. However, the theory persists, often overlapping with broader skepticism of corporate power, government oversight, and the healthcare industry's motives. The Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy theory revolves around the belief that Epstein, a wealthy financier and convicted sex offender, was part of a vast, powerful network that included elite individuals involving in illegal activities such as child trafficking and sexual exploitation. Epstein was arrested in 2019 on federal charges of sex trafficking minors, and his death in a New York jail, ruled a suicide, fueled widespread speculation that he was murdered to prevent him from revealing damaging
information. Oh, I think I bookmarked. Let me see if I bookmarked it. Oh, I'll have to. Maybe let me just open up another window real quick. Get this off. Did I bookmark it? Where the guy? Sorry, let me find it real quick. Okay, this dude. Yeah, it was this one. Let's swing this over here. This is kind of crazy. Shit. Damn it. Close. Look at all my tabs. Look at my tabs. So many tabs. Let's throw this one over here now. Okay. This was kind of crazy. So you might remember, shortly after Epstein died, there was a guy. There was a post on 4chan, and it kind of went kind of semi-broke containment. I remember it, but a lot of people don't. But the individual who anonymously posted on 4chan the morning of Epstein's death, August 10th, 2019, claimed he witnessed weird happenings at the prison before Epstein's death has been identified in the recently released Epstein files. Roberto Grijalva, an officer at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, has been identified as the anonymous prison employee who posted on 4chan claiming Epstein left his cell Friday evening shackled in a medical wheelchair, while at the same time an unauthorized trip van arrived at the prison, which he believes took Epstein away the night before news broke of his death. The day after Epstein's death, U.S. Attorney General Jeffrey Berman of the SDNY opened a grand jury proceeding and subpoenaed 4chan, Apple, AT&T, and Citibank for records aiming to uncover Grijalva's identity following the anonymous 4chan post. Sorry, it's my notebook. Grijalva's name is not redacted on his bank records included in the SDNY subpoena response from Citibank for his 4chan post, and ties to the same prison officer, Roberto Grijalva, whose statements were released as part of the prison investigation into Epstein's death. This is huge. We now have validation. The 4chan post from 8/10/2019 is a legitimate eyewitness account from the Metropolitan Correctional Center prison officer that Epstein may have switched out before news of his alleged suicide broke. And then somewhere down the line, we don't want to. No, can't show this on YouTube. Brief. Here. This is the photo of Epstein's dead head, and there's his nose, and this is Jeffrey's nose. There's his nose. This is Jeffrey's nose from profile. And then that is this. Now this I'm not the shape of the ear. Like if he died by strangulation, obviously this is going to have some deformation, but he does have a different little contour here, and it's not the clearest photo, obviously. But so, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Think they switched him out? You think Jeffrey's out there somewhere? Jeffrey's out there in the wild, just living life. Where was I? What do you think? You think Jeffrey made it? You think Jeffrey
Information about
Jeffrey
his
struck a
influential
deal?
associates. The conspiracy theory gained traction due to the high-profile nature of Epstein's connections, which included politicians, business leaders, and royalty. Some of the key figures linked to Epstein include Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Donald Trump, and many more. Many theorists argue that Epstein possessed compromising information on these
Oh, he possessed compromising information. Now, what?
individuals and others, leading to his supposed silencing. The abrupt nature of his death, the failure of security cameras at his cell, and inconsistencies in the official investigation created much speculation. This theory really took off after his death on August 10th, 2019, when the phrase Epstein didn't kill himself trended on social media. The theory rapidly spread across many social media platforms, driven by memes and viral posts that question the official narrative. Theories range from the involvement of powerful politicians to intelligence agencies covering up a blackmail operation. The Epstein case became symbolic of distrust in institutions, reinforcing beliefs that powerful people operate with impunity, shielded from legal consequences. The lack
Well, I mean, that's not a theory. Powerful people do operate from a position of impunity. If they fuck up too much, like your Bernie Madoffs or whatever, yeah, they're going to catch the wrath, and it's going to be awful. But for like what we consider minor offenses, they don't normally get held to account, and if they do, they just pay a really big fine. Which is why I was really surprised when Sam Bankman-Fried went away for so long. I thought he would get like maybe 4 or 5 years, but apparently he pissed off way too many powerful people with fucking with their money.
of accountability for Epstein's accomplices and the secrecy around his wealth and criminal activities helped sustain the conspiracy, which remains widely discussed even after official investigations closed. Theories persist about the extent of Epstein's criminal empire and the true cause of his death. The vaccines cause autism conspiracy theory claims that vaccines, particularly the MMR vaccine, are linked to the development of autism in children. This theory stems from a now discredited 1998 study led by British doctor Andrew Wakefield, who suggested that there may be a link between these two things. Despite numerous scientific studies refuting this claim, the conspiracy persists and has influenced public perceptions of vaccine safety. The theory gained traction when Wakefield's study was widely publicized, sparking fears among parents. The media coverage amplified the findings, despite the lack of evidence. In 2010, Wakefield was stripped of his medical license after it was revealed that his research was fraudulent, ethically compromised, and funded by groups pursuing lawsuits against vaccine manufacturers. His sample size was small, and no following research has validated his claims. Nonetheless, the damage was done, and anti-vaccine movements embraced the theory, with even high-profile celebrities promoting the idea, furthering its reach. Social media also played a significant role in the spread of the conspiracy, as online forums
I just believe that I believe vaccines are a great invention, and they're largely a net positive. I do believe our schedule is it's way too aggressive. We could definitely slow it down with no reduction in efficacy. And I believe that's what we're going to do. We just need to slow it down. Like, you can't just dump this much into a developing body and hope for the best. And why the chances of bad things happening are not as strong as what a lot of the anti-vaxxers will propose or posit, I do believe that there's a greater than zero chance that bad things happen. A significantly greater than zero chance that bad things can happen to a developing child. That's just now whether that's because of a genetic comorbidity where they're already genetically predisposed to this, and then you introduce this to them, and now something gets twisted, brain swells, some things don't fire correctly. I don't know, but you don't. There's not. It's not specifically the vaccines that are maybe increasing the rates of certain chronic diseases and developmental disorders. I believe it's a combination of a lot of things that, when you mix these together, bad things can happen. And I believe that there's no inherent wrong in asking, maybe we should try to look at this. And with the availability of genetic testing now, if we can find the markers of where people might be susceptible to things, like if we could just do a quick genetic test and be like, hey, we know this and this, they're at least correlative to, maybe this will be a problem, maybe we back off a little bit, maybe we wait, maybe we try an alternative. Like, I think those are good questions to ask, and you don't have to be 100% one side or 100% the other. We need to constantly be seeking to get better and have better information.
and groups created echo chambers where vaccine misinformation thrived. The theory
Yes, you got
resonated with
switched
some
out.
parents seeking an explanation for the rising autism diagnosis rates, despite the fact that these increases are largely attributed to better diagnostic practices and awareness. The reluctance to vaccinate, spurred by this belief, has led to outbreaks of preventable diseases, such as measles, in communities with low vaccination rates. The theory remains a significant public health concern as it undermines confidence in vaccines, which are one of the most effective tools for preventing disease. Despite overwhelming scientific consensus debunking the link, the belief continues to influence vaccine hesitancy. The Pizzagate conspiracy theory emerged in 2016, falsely claiming that a child trafficking ring involving high-profile politicians.
Remember this one? Now that we have a little bit more about Epstein's network, this is another conspiracy theory that, while it may not have been directly linked to that pizza place and the arcade, I do believe that
including members of the Democratic Party, was being operated out of a Washington, D.C. pizzeria called Comet Ping Pong. The theory originated from hacked emails of John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, which were released by WikiLeaks. Conspiracy theorists, particularly on platforms like 4chan and Reddit, misinterpreted and speculated about references to pizza and other foods in the emails, claiming they were coded language for pedophilia and human trafficking. This theory was fueled by social media, where it was spread by many who opposed Hillary Clinton during the 2016 election, including far-right figures like Alex Jones. It linked the Democratic Party, Clinton, and other elites to an underground pedophile ring, tapping into broader fears and existing conspiracy narratives about the corruption of powerful figures. The theory spread widely, despite a complete lack of evidence, and rapidly gained popularity through viral posts. The conspiracy reached its peak when a man named Edgar Madison Welch drove from North Carolina to the Comet Ping Pong Pizzeria and fired a rifle inside the establishment in December 2016, attempting to rescue children he believed were being held captive. No evidence of any criminal activity was found, and Welch was arrested. Although thoroughly debunked, the Pizzagate conspiracy theory laid the groundwork for later conspiracy movements like QAnon, which similarly allege widespread elite corruption involving pedophilia.
that's a hold on. I just have to see if I just have to go to hold on, let me I gotta do this. Before I do that, I gotta take this down a little bit. So Amazon. Oh, wow. Pizzagate, the complete story. $12. We've got Hillary, we've got all right, I just had to see that real quick. I just wanted to see. I wanted to see if that book was still available because I was so gonna buy it. Hold on. All right. There you go.
Pizzagate remains significant as an example of how disinformation can spiral into real-world violence and public belief, demonstrating the dangers of viral conspiracy theories in the digital age. The QAnon conspiracy theory is the belief that global elites,
QAnon is
including
just.
politicians, celebrities, and business leaders, are involved.
Did anybody else like follow that and just like just go down that rabbit hole? Like I followed it in real time, just like kind of just seeing what was, it's all happening. It's all happening. Look for 3, 2, 1. It's like people are just trolling these half crazies on 4chan and other forums and Reddit, and it was wild. But if you read it, I would spend like an hour a night going through those threads, and once you spend like an hour, you start to kind of halfway believe it. It's like it's all connected. It's all interwoven.
Involved in child trafficking, satanic rituals, and other forms of corruption. Central to the theory is the idea that Donald Trump was working to dismantle the group and expose their crimes. QAnon emerged in 2017 when an anonymous figure, known as Q, began posting cryptic messages, which were known as Q drops, on the online forum 4chan, claiming to be a high-ranking government insider with knowledge of this hidden war between Trump and the deep state. The conspiracy theory gained rapid popularity online, initially appealing to far-right and anti-establishment communities. Q's vague and coded messages invited followers to
it's all 23, baby.
A sense of participation in.
I mean, come on, man. 23andMe. They want your genetic material, man. They want your DNA. 23andMe. It's all 23.
Uncovering the supposed truth. Followers believe in the Storm, a prophesized event where Trump will arrest and expose the members of this secretive group, leading to their downfall. Despite Trump's exit from office, the theory has evolved, with believers adjusting their narratives. This theory's popularity surged during the COVID-19 pandemic, as lockdowns and uncertainty fueled online engagement with conspiracies. QAnon also tapped into pre-existing conspiracy theories, including Pizzagate, and amplified fears about elite corruption and child exploitation. The movement has had real-world consequences, with some followers engaging in violent acts, most notably the January 6, 2021 US Capitol insurrection. Although Q has stopped posting, the conspiracy theory continues to thrive among certain communities. It has been debunked repeatedly by fact-checkers, but its followers remain committed, often seeing real-world events as evidence of the hidden war they believe in. The COVID-19 hoax conspiracy theory is the belief that the global pandemic, which began in late 2019, was either exaggerated or entirely fabricated by governments, media, and powerful elites to.
No, it was exaggerated by incompetence. And it was 100% China's fault.
Control populations, infringe on civil liberties, or advance hidden agendas. Some versions of the theory claim that the virus itself is fake, while others argue that it exists, but its severity was deliberately overstated. Central to the conspiracy are ideas that lockdowns, mask mandates, and vaccines were tools of mass manipulation designed to create fear and compliance. Skeptics of the virus.
If they weren't designed to do that, it was a happy accident. I mean, if it wasn't designed to make people antisocial, scared, agoraphobic, fat, alcoholic, like it was certainly a happy accident.
Pointed to inconsistencies in information, such as changing guidelines from health officials as evidence of a cover-up. Theories varied widely, with some claiming the virus was a plot to implement authoritarian control.
Stop noticing. Stop noticing.
Others suggesting it was a ruse to introduce mass vaccination programs or digital tracking through microchips. Influential figures, including some celebrities and political commentators, promoted these ideas, helping to amplify them on social media platforms. The conspiracy theory thrived due to the fear, confusion, and uncertainty surrounding the pandemic. Additionally, the pandemic intersected with existing anti-government and anti-vaccine movements, drawing in people already distrustful of institutions. The COVID-19 hoax narratives has had dangerous real-world consequences, leading to widespread resistance to public health measures, vaccine hesitancy, and even violence against health officials. Though thoroughly debunked by experts and backed by overwhelming evidence.
Okay. I mean, I gave this guy's video a like, and I appreciate him putting all this together, but like, I hate when people say thoroughly debunked by experts. There's been a lot of things that have been thoroughly debunked by experts that are no longer thoroughly debunked. But, okay,
evidence
go
of
off,
the
dude.
virus's impact, the conspiracy persists among certain group who view the pandemic as part of a broader scheme to strip away freedoms and impose control on society. Thank you very much.
I don't think it was a scheme because I don't think governments necessarily are that smart or that coordinated, but I think they definitely took advantage of the situation to strip away individual rights and increase authoritarian measures. And we're going to go into that as soon as I get in here to France. I've got some other stuff going on up here, but like this happened. Like, do I think it was a conspiracy to make it happen? No, but they took advantage of a situation and they all expended their power. That's what happens. That's what people do. That's what governments do. They never let a crisis go to waste.
For watching this video, and if you learned something, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below your thoughts on any of the conspiracies I
left him a like.
discussed, and subscribe if you would like to see a part 2 or more videos like this one. Thank you again, and goodbye.
All right, cool. Ooh, the Satanic versus Salman Rushdie. I like that. The most controversial banned books explained in 18 minutes. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, we might do that one. I'm gonna go ahead and bookmark this one.
We have got to the point.
Go ahead and hit a like on that one. Might do that one later. Okay, so let me take this down for a second, and we'll get this up here. All right, so we have on our list of things that we can possibly talk about today. We have today in Elon's world, Iran. Iran, what's going on in Asia? Cheaper chips. Ubisoft calling for CEO's removal. ICE, what is wrong with Minnesota? DSP and Lord Dive. We're doing Lord Dives into weird stuff I like, but that was our first little conspiracy theory run. If you guys want to go into some real news, we can do real news real quick. If you have one that you would like to go into, Iran is obviously pretty hot right now. I've got a lot of tabs on Asia. Got a lot of tabs on Asia. Got a lot of tabs on Minnesota. Oh, this one was interesting. Let's just do a quick little. Where's it at? Okay, let's try this. I wanted to read this. It popped up on my feed the other day, and I didn't get a chance to read it, so I want to read it. Google Genie 3 is the end of gaming studios as GTA 6 Greenland Edition stuns fans. Yeah, it's fine. He had an epic crash out though yesterday, which was kind of interesting. Like he lost it because somebody said he had a lesbian haircut. But I've already seen it. I just throw him in for shits and giggles, and as like a a break, a little buffer break in there, just because we're going to talk about a lot of the news. Google has just rolled out a new AI feature which threatens to destroy the future of gaming studios by allowing people to generate their own games. Project Genie has now released to Google AI Ultra subscribers over in the US, and users have already signaled the end of gaming studios after one person created GTA 6 The Greenland Edition. Talking to X2X, one user shared a 43-second clip of what appears to be the most realistic game footage we've ever seen, despite it being generated in just a couple of minutes. So it's not really game footage. Google latest AI makes you generate games in a couple of minutes. That's mad crazy, they wrote. Adding GTA 6 Greenland Edition is definitely the end of gaming studios. Given the fact that the real GTA 6 has already been in development for almost 8 years, we're guessing you can't actually create a real game in a matter of minutes, even using sophisticated technology like Google's Genie project. But it certainly does ring alarm bells for future creative roles like game developers. Yeah, I just want to let's see what this looks like. Is it going to play? Yeah, that is true, Rem. I 100% agree on that. Okay, is this going to play? Or is it gone? Let me see. Over here. Media has been disabled in response to a report by copyright owner. So, yeah, Rockstar has. Rockstar got him. Anyway, we'll go back to here. Nope. Last August, we previewed Google AI. Last August, we previewed Genie 3, a general-purpose world model that turns a single text prompt into a dynamic, interactive environment. Since then, trusted testers have taken it further than we ever imagined, experimenting, exploring, and pioneering. And then one ex-user who owns a gaming company wrote, "Frankly insane. I was probably one of the most psychologically prepared person in the world for this, but yet it still hits me like a truck." Sharing a clip someone had made, which looked exactly like real footage from behind the counter of a Dunkin' Donuts, he added, "Humanity is 100% creating the Matrix, or rather matrices, generated on demand, on the fly. It's obvious that the end state of video games is a full simulation." Yeah, I'm like, I think I asked Grok not too long ago how long it's gonna be before we have full dive AI, and it was like 10 to 15 years. Um, but I think I might ask it again today and see what it says. 'Cause like my dream, since I don't have any I have family, but I don't have children or anything like that. I was like, just put me in the little haptic suit, make me a fucking battery, and let me go fight dragons until I die when I turn 65. Like, just let me go on an adventure, be young in the world. I'll stay in there all the time. Put me on a catheter, feed me through a tube, let me fight dragons until I die, and use me as a fucking battery. I will be 100% okay with that. Sharing a clip someone has made. Google announced that the futuristic software is part of Genie 3, which was unveiled last year, allowing users to generate virtual interactive spaces simply using text or image prompts. While technology is certainly impressive, it seems not everyone in gaming space is concerned, with many responding on X to highlight its limitations. Well, that's kind of what they said about AI 3 years ago, isn't it? Um, yeah, okay, calm down. It generates 60 seconds max, has no gameplay, has nothing except walking, and costs $200 a month. It's impressive, but the gaming industry has nothing to worry about for a while. Define a while, because I say 4 years, maybe. Most game studios won't go anywhere because your average person lacks the wherewithal to refine a game to AAA standards. I think AAA studios these days lack the ability or wherewithal to refine a game to a AAA standard. If, like, the last couple years offerings are any example, you can make it look pretty, sure, but I bet it runs like shit. Meanwhile, The Verge reports that Google will release Project Genie out of curiosity more than anything, as it wanted to see how people would actually use it to watch this space. Okay, I thought that was pretty interesting. Uh, okay, and then we've got human level AI. Okay, that's fun. That's fun. All right, we're done with that article. I thought that was just a little. That's a little quick hit. I thought that was a little bit interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, it's pretty fun. Let's see. Let's go see what's happening in Minnesota. Minnesota. Damn it. Open back up. Oh, let's close these down. Asia can close down. Elon can close down. And my roundup can close down. Okay, what's going on in Minnesota? Okay, so you guys remember this? Y'all remember this? He's
I don't know. Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us. Everybody settle down. ICE cannot be reformed. It cannot be rehabilitated. We must abolish ICE for good. And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must
watch it one more time.
resign or face impeachment.
Yeah. Anyway, like, let's run it back just a second.
Or face impeachment.
I don't know what he was saying. I was trying to. Who the fuck tries to assassinate somebody with apple cider vinegar? Like, but anyway, Anyway, yeah, I think that was fake as fuck. Nobody reacts to, especially not a 5'4" woman reacts like that. I don't give a shit how tough you are. No, I wouldn't react like that. Somebody just runs up at me and sprays me in the chest with something. I'm probably concerned. And if I've got security, I'm not chasing after them. That's their job. That's what they get paid for. Anyway, so this particular guy, this guy, yeah, and a man who sprayed apple cider vinegar on Representative Ilhan Omar ordered to remain in custody, so he can't make bail. Um, okay, federal. Let's just read, but you know that was a threat without major bodily harm. Now it was an attempt, an assault on an elected official. That carries some deeper consequences than just spraying somebody on the street with apple cider vinegar. So I get that. I think it raises it to the level of like a third-degree felony, rather than like a misdemeanor assault without bodily harm. I don't know the Minnesota statutes, but like where I live, like yeah, if you just kind of do touch somebody, but there's no marks or anything, that's like a misdemeanor 3, like a fine. Maybe some community service and anger management classes, and you're free to go. They might not even put you in jail. They might just give you a summons. But a federal judge has ordered the man accused of assaulting Representative Ilhan Omar during a town hall in Minneapolis to remain in custody as he awaits further court proceedings. The judge issued the order for Anthony Kazmierzak, I think that's right, during a brief hearing on Tuesday. Kazmierzak, 55, faces a federal assault charge as well as state charges of making threats of violence and assault. Omar was not injured on January 27th when Kazmierzak charged her and sprayed her with a liquid later determined to be apple cider vinegar and water. He was tackled to the ground and arrested. Omar continued to speak and take questions at the town hall for almost half an hour. In a subsequent interview with WCCO, Omar said she is really okay. What happened to me is not okay, but they picked the wrong person. I am not one to be intimidated. I, too, am not intimidated by salad dressing. Yeah. In subsequent interview with the blah, 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 blah. During the town hall, Omar, a Democrat, called for immigration and customs enforcement to be abolished and for Homeland Security's Kristi Noem to resign. According to the federal complaint, a close associate of Kazmierzak told authorities he once said of Omar, "Somebody should kill that bitch." U.S. Capitol Police say number of threats they're investigating against members of Congress, their families, and staff increased 58% between 2024 and 2025. So yeah, she got sprayed with salad dressing. And to play devil's advocate, let's just play devil's advocate here. Say it was for real. Say it wasn't completely staged, which I don't. I believe it was staged. I really do. But you know, it could have been simply a threat. I could have got you. It could have been just go up there with your spray bottle and go pop, pop. I could have killed you. It was that easy. And that was meant as an intimidation thing, but her response is just so weird. What's next, Soap? Hey, Lucian, how you doing? Minnesota's MAGA country now. Oh, Lee, you know, at least he was white. Yes, I don't know. All right, what else we got going? So yeah, I wanted to bring up that they're not going to let him out, and they seem to be throwing a bunch of charges. Now, if he actually goes to trial for this and doesn't get a diversion, if we see him in the news in like 6 weeks when he has his hearing or whenever, and he is actually brought up and maybe facing time, I would be interested to see what he says. Because even if there was no even if it wasn't staged, I damn sure would be chirping like it was. Anyway, what else is going on in Minnesota? What else we got? Yes. White women protest at their favorite place.
Minnesota, Target. We thought we told you, ice out of Minnesota.
What the fuck has Target done?
Target, we thought we told you ice out of Minnesota. Target, we thought we told you ice out of Minnesota.
What has Target done? What does Target have to do with ice? Is that where they buy their chips and Cokes and Gatorade? But to me, this is, I don't know. I saw this headline. I saw that this is like 13 minutes long. I don't know what the fuck what it's actually going to do. I haven't watched it yet. But my thing was like the women were like, well, we could get our performative protesting in and do a little light shopping at the same time. I think that was my first thought. Like, well, we were already going to Target. Let's just meet up there. Like,
We thought we told you ice out of Minnesota. Target, we thought we told you ice out of Minnesota. Target.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Veronica Mendez-Moore, and I'm with the Ice Out Now Minnesota Coalition. And we're here today outside of Target headquarters on the first day of the new CEO, Michael Fidel.
now half the protesters leave. Was like, this is headquarters? I thought we were just going to Target. We can't shop here. I needed some body wash and some candles and an avocado.
To welcome him into his new role and ask him to join us in calling for ICE to leave our state. We want them to end the violence that cost Alex Preddy and Renee Good their lives and has torn apart thousands of families. Target is at a crossroads today. They can continue to ignore the thousands and thousands of voices locally and across the country who are calling on them to be a good corporate citizen and to stand up for our families and our communities, or they can listen to us, they can stand with us, and they can demand that ICE leave Minnesota now. This weekend, at over 36 Target stores in Minnesota, as well as across the country, thousands of people went into their stores to raise their voices and call for Target to demand that they stand with us. Our demands have been clear. Publicly call for an immediate end to the ICE surge into Minnesota and for ICE and Border Patrol to leave the state. Two, that Target exercise their Fourth Amendment rights and publicly post signage denying entrance to immigration agents who do not have a signed judicial warrant as required by law. And that they
Protect the customer
on how to respond when immigration agents arrive at stores. We demand that Target publicly call to shut down Trump's ICE. That they lobby.
Once again, this is Target. I mean, go after like Hertz for renting them SUVs or something. Like Target. Who's next? Walmart? Whole Foods?
Congress for no additional federal funding for ICE in the upcoming congressional budget, and that ICE should be investigated for human and constitutional violations of Americans and our neighbors.
Yeah, but what does Target have to do with this?
That Target must demand that any federal officer who kills or harms a civilian be held legally accountable. So today, you'll hear from a few Minnesotans about why we are continuing our push for Target and their new CEO to use their influence and force the administration to end the occupation of our cities and stop this regime of terror here and across the country.
Okay, let me just break it down for this one real quick. Target just got slapped a few years ago for the trans children's swimwear and the gay pride, and they put that shit back in the pottery section. All right, they're not doing shit about this. They're far away from this football. They're, whoop, missed it. Like, trust me. If the gay pride stuff got canceled, honey, you barking up the wrong tree with these people. They are risk averse.
So first, I would like to invite up Pastor Doug Mork.
Good morning. I am Pastor Doug Mork. I am a pastor at Holy Trinity Lutheran Church in the Longfellow neighborhood of South Minneapolis. My congregation and neighborhood are seeing heartbreaking ICE activity every day. Right? During the service yesterday, we were monitoring ICE activity within just a few blocks.
Were you monitoring Don Lemon?
Tearing families apart. It is causing incredible harm to the neighbors that we're called to love. For years, corporations like Target have been accumulating power and asking for more, to have an influence in our communities and in our country. We are asking them to show the same level of courage that neighbors are showing every
Hey, I was
day,
raised Methodist. Fuck
answering
off.
this call to love neighbor and are stepping into the mix. We're now asking Target to do the same, to be courageous, to follow the call to love neighbor, to lead as a Minnesota homegrown company, and to speak out against the things that are.
Oh, so Target's based in Minnesota. Okay, that's why they're there.
Use their voice to turn this administration and get ICE out of Minnesota.
Y'all can't even chant right. Half these people are on oxygen and statins. Like, I mean, we have to like really call attention to. I mean, this is a common theme with all this protesting, and like, they're always old. They're so like the average age in that group is like 65. I mean, Methodist is not really a consistent. I think every church is a little bit different. Mine was really, really, really Catholic light. Like we said, the doxology, revered the saints, all that. We were probably closer to Catholic than most of the Episcopalian churches around us. But every church has a little bit different. I think the Methodist is not really like a nationwide organization as much as some others are.
Thank you, Doug. Next, we're going to invite up Heather.
Hey, Heather.
Hello, I'm Heather Hecker. I'm with Unidos, Minnesota. I'm a Minneapolis resident. I'm a physician assistant at a local hospital.
Heather, speak up. Use the mic.
I'm seeing a caregiver at my neighborhood daycare center be abducted and transported to Texas, even though she's a legal resident, leaving behind her 3-year-old to live without a mother. At work, I am admitting people to our mental health hospital because of the stress and trauma caused by ICE, while getting reports that ICE agents are trying to illegally enter our ambulance bay. This is a crisis that's going to require all of us coming together to resist what is happening. Just as it's not sustainable.
No, that's funny. I was talking to my brother last night, and he had heard somewhere that, like, yeah, some of these protesters are making $40,000-$50,000 a year. I was like, sign me the fuck up then, man. It's tough out here for a pimp. I will carry a sign 8 hours a day and then go vote against you. I will take your dirty ass money and use it and report everybody there. I'll just be back at the hotel like, yeah, his name is, can I get that bonus check?
Sustainable for our communities to continue being terrorized by ICE. It is not sustainable for Target either. Target will not continue to profit if we live under authoritarian rule.
Have you been to Target? I mean, I'm around here. Target's not really frequented by those that might, I would say, be targeted by ICE in my particular neck of the woods. Leave that hanging in the air.
Target will not survive the moral injury of staying silent in this moment.
The moral injury. There's such cry bullies, man. The moral injury. You think a corporation gives a fuck?
This was far from enough. Regular Minnesotans are being brave. They're standing on corners at 6 a.m. to keep children and mothers from being abducted. They're boarding up each other's front doors after ICE knocks them in with battering rams. And they're using their voices to speak.
Apparently, Lucian, they're just doing some performative protesting in a press conference because Target is based in Minnesota. And so they're calling on their local nationwide chain to take an affirmative stance in their favor. Be like, we're anti-ICE, and Target's just not going to fucking do that.
We are asking you, Michael Fidelki, to be brave with us. To stand up and say that what ICE is doing is not right. Until now, Target has been silent. We are asking Target to demand an end of the terror that ICE is wreaking on Minnesota. As you know, Michael, Target relies on immigrants, from the workers in your stores to the drivers who deliver groceries for Shipt to the people who grow and process the food that you sell. We're asking you to speak out against the violent abductions of those workers. Our neighbors, our fellow workers, our family members.
Who is she looking at? Like, is there a camera over here? I'm sorry, over here somewhere that she thinks she's supposed to be looking at?
Deserve dignity. They deserve work permits and a pathway to citizenship.
Yeah, work permits, pathway to citizenship. Got no problem with that. I think it's great. They should have filed for those, and their company should have filed for those. My brother's company does that. They're 100% legal. They're still working. They go to work every fucking day. No problem. They've got their work permits. They're all on file. Nobody's calling anybody on them. You know.
We are standing in solidarity with Target workers.
This kind of shit. I'm sorry. And you know, do I think ICE is being very aggressive? I'm not going to say overly aggressive, but are they being very aggressive? Yes. And I think they have to be, at least for a little while longer, because things got so bad and so out of control that a proportional response had to swing the pendulum somewhere back to middle. Now, I hope within the coming year that things settle down and things are run a little bit more efficiently and maybe with a little bit more kindness. But at some point, we had to do something very, very overt to just send a message. And I believe the message has pretty much been sent at this point. But this bad shit she's talking about is only happening in the states and the cities that aren't cooperating with ICE and letting people pick people up at the courtrooms and the jails. And everywhere else that I know, it's pretty much everywhere else that I've heard about it. They pick them up at the courthouse and the jails, or in associated like criminal activity raids. But when you make them go into neighborhoods, they already said what was going to happen is if we go into a neighborhood to find somebody and we find 10 more people, we're taking them all. They said that at the very beginning.
Who have been asking you to protect their Fourth Amendment rights and keep ICE out of your stores and parking lots.
Honey, you can't do that. Like, you can't. You can ask them to go to before Congress and make a plea to, like, you know, let's do something a little bit different about how this is being processed, and let's work on getting valid work permits and things like that. You know, let's try to come to a conclusion where we can work a system out. You can ask a corporation to do that, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I think we should do that. It should be a push to do that, but you can't ask a national corporation to say they're going to bar law enforcement from entering their stores. That is stupid.
We are asking you to listen to your workers who are just wanting you to protect their constitutional.
Did we lose her? Did I lose sound?
Dead and thousands of
Well, she was boring anyway.
Michael Fidel.
Yeah, it's a miserably long interpretation of the Fourth Amendment. Unlawful search and seizure and excessive detainment, and yeah, like it's lawful. You might not like it, but it's lawful. And if a national corporation decides to try to keep ICE agents out of Target, like letting them shop or their parking lots, like Home Depot or whatever, it's so easy going to Home Depot the other day. It's in and out in like 5 minutes. It's nice.
We ask that you speak up. Our communities are suffering. 2 people are dead and thousands of families have been torn apart and harmed by ICE. In the face of this pain and danger, everyday Minnesotans have stood up and taken care of each other. But one of the biggest companies in our state has refused to stand.
Yes and no, Rem. I mean, you can interpret it. The constitutional protections pretty much extend to anybody on U.S. soil. But what they're talking about, I think where the rift is in the interpretation of what due process means for somebody that's here illegally. The due process to me is you're here illegally. That's the process. We'll fly you out of here. Like that's the process in my estimation. They don't need 8 months of hearings. They don't need, all this other shit. If you're here illegally, we ship you out as quickly as we possibly can. That's how it works in most other countries. If they don't make you stay and pay a bunch of fines, or spend time in jail for overstaying a visa. But, free speech, unlawful, the Constitution protects anybody that's on our soil for the most part. And then American citizens outside of the purview, like on basis, things like that. But yeah, it's the interpretation of due process that everybody's getting hung up over. Yeah, it's not the world constitution. But if you're on U.S. soil, you're protected by the Constitution. Now, that's always been my interpretation of it. But yeah, like they're talking about due process. I'm like, our system cannot possibly process 20 million illegal immigrants and give them 6 months of time to prepare a case and be before a judge. If you're here illegally, bye.
Stand with us.
I'll be right back.
We've seen that Target has allowed ICE to stage operations in its parking lots. We all saw the video when Customs and Border Patrol assaulted and kidnapped 2 U.S. citizens. We've seen the harm that's been caused by this surge to local businesses. And throughout all of this, Target has said next to nothing. We need to be clear that what is happening in Minnesota wouldn't be possible without the complicity or the enablement of Trump's corporate backers. To end this siege, we need companies like Target to use their influence to force the administration to end the occupation of Minnesota and shut down ICE. It is frustrating that Target hasn't stepped up beyond a weak letter, but a new CEO gives them a chance to do the right thing. We call on Michael Fidelki to do what is right. Speak up, 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 speak up. Thank you. And now we will invite if there are any questions from the press. To ask those questions now.
What was your name again?
Veronica Mendez Moore.
From where?
From the ICE Out Now Minnesota Coalition.
Thank you. I do have a question for the pastor. What is your church in your
Hi, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and welcome to my mountain television software demo stunt.
Let's be clear, there's a full medical team.
Milk. That ad one more time.
I got it. When's it gonna melt out?
About 10 or 15 minutes
How
of
long's
this.
it been?
You got ice cubes?
I've never had an experience like that. Did I get the lines for you?
You got the lines perfectly. I'm so sorry. Today, we'll learn why Mountain is the hardest working software in television by demonstrating how brands big and small.
Okay, why is the preacher back? And I can't. What's the question?
You know, I'm focused right now on what my congregation is focused on, which is care for the neighborhood, responding to the damage ICE is doing. People are acting in a whole variety of ways, and I'm glad people are trying to get ICE out of Minnesota and speaking up. We're here at Target to call on Michael Fidelki to use his voice to speak against Target. That's what my congregation is looking for, and we want him to show the courage that others are showing.
Who is this woman in the blue? Oh God, that kind of woman. Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you all for being here. And we'll be back.
I think they expected that to go a little bit better. Is it just me? She's like, "Is there any questions?" And then it was like, "No, nope, we got it." Everybody's like, "Damn, I missed breakfast at McDonald's for this." Shit, I don't know that. All right, what else is going on in Minnesota? Oh. Minnesota Human Services is recruiting 168 state employees to combat fraud through site checks. But I thought there was no fraud. That's weird. I thought little Nicky boy made it all up. Strange. Interesting. All right, this was published by Alisa Chen, February 2nd, 2026, so 2 days ago. The Minnesota Department of Human Services announced Monday that it is recruiting 168 people from the state's government, 40,000 employees, to help the agency to conduct unannounced site checks of Medicaid providers in order to combat fraud. Thought there was no fraud. The site checks are part of a new effort by the state to revalidate all 5,800 providers. Holy shit! How many people are on Medicaid? Let me just look it up real quick. How many people on Medicaid? People on Medicaid of some form in Minnesota. Approximately 1.2 to 1.3 million people in Minnesota are enrolled in Medicaid, known as medical assistance, or closely related CHIP programs, representing roughly 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 state residences of 20 low-income adults, children, seniors, and people with disabilities. Holy shit. This was a quarter of the population is on Medicaid. I want to check. What is the national alcohol or national average? Percent. How many people on Medicaid? Some of our national average percent. Okay, so they're hovering. I mean, I thought national average would be significantly less, but it seems to be they're hovering like close to the national average. And some of the most of those are going to be either elderly or obviously children. I get that. Oh, bam. Percent. 22.6. So we're about right. I thought that sounded high. But yeah, I do think that is unsustainable. Okay, so let me turn on my BGM since we're just talking now. Okay. The site checks are part of a new effort by the state to revalidate all 5,800 providers of 13 medicated services deemed to be high risk for fraud. Sorry, I'm starving. Waste and abuse by DHS. Revalidation involves reviewing provider documents, owners' background checks, visiting providers in person, and conducting screening reviews before and after in-person visits. DHS Deputy Commissioner Connolly called the effort unprecedented in a press briefing. The state normally revalidates providers every 3 to 5 years. Well, okay, so they revalidate every 3 to 5 years. When was the height of fraud? 2020, 2021? It's when all those people got validated to begin with? Yeah, it might be time to go check and see what they've been up to the last 5 years. What do you think? I think that it might be a good time. We've never done anything on this scale before with provider revalidations. Staff training will begin in February, and unannounced site visits will begin soon after, he said. The new program, which state officials named Minnesota Revalidation, well, that was creative, comes as the Walz administration faces significant national scrutiny for how it has handled fraud in Minnesota's public programs. President Donald Trump has used the fraud issue to attack Minnesota's Somali American community and justify sending 3,000 immigration agents to the state. An aggressive campaign that coincided with the killings of Alex Preddy and Renee Good by federal immigration agents in recent weeks, among other incidents. A rival video, okay, Nick Shirley, named from new fraud in Minnesota, it led to announcements of more federal scrutiny of Minnesota's safety net programs, ongoing fraud prevention efforts, and federal threats to pull funding. That's why this is being done, because they were going to pull $3 billion worth of funding. The 13 high-risk Medicaid programs provide critical services to disabled and elderly Minnesotans. Another program, House Stabilization Services, was so riddled with fraud the state shut it down. The state has also launched a different fraud prevention effort called Prepayment Review, which audits claims for the 13 Medicaid programs. DHS abruptly delayed payments to all providers in those programs in December as part of the prepayment review process, a move which providers said caught them by surprise and interrupted payrolls, leaving Medicaid recipients without care. Former Assistant U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson, who has prosecuted several social services fraud cases in Minnesota, said in December that he suspected at least $9 billion paid to the 13 high-risk Medicaid programs, plus the Housing Stabilization Services, which is now gone, since 2018 has been fraudulent. Connolly told reporters at the time that DHS has evidence that substantiates fraud totaling tens of millions in these programs to date, not $9 billion. Tens of millions, not $9 billion. Governor Tim Walz calls the estimate sensationalized. In response to federal scrutiny over the Medicaid programs, DHS has submitted a corrective action plan to the federal government in December to outline how it plans to detect Medicaid fraud. The plan was rejected through what Connolly said was an outdated federal audit of the DHS in early January. The Trump administration then said that it intends to withhold $2 billion of funding towards high-risk Medicaid programs from Minnesota. So $2 billion, is that annually? Connolly said the $2 billion in federal funding is an overestimation of the state calculates closer to 1.2. Cool. It's 1.2 billion, 2 billion, 1.2, 2 billion. It's $1 billion, and he's not going to give it to you. The state is appealing the federal government's decision to withhold funds and also submitted a revised corrective action plan on Friday. The appeal process will take at least a couple more months, Connolly said. Well, I mean, if you do the shit they ask you to do and you catch some people, you probably won't have to go through the appeal process. It seems like you're trying to get ahead of it. But I just love how they said, there's no real fraud. It's minor. Everybody's got fraud, and now they're hiring 168 people to go through every service step by step. Go through 5,800 providers. They say it's not happening, and then they do the things because it's happening. But they don't want it to be public that it's happening. All right, so here we go. Y'all remember this fella? Not that fella. Y'all remember this fella, Keith Ellison? The guy that put Chauvin in jail for for George Floyd, and he was the attorney general who was like, "Yeah, we probably just need to let them work it out of their system, let them riot. Everybody's mad." That guy, well, Keith Ellison is under microscope for climate litigation, a sweeping fraud scandal. It's another one. A sweeping fraud scandal is putting Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison in the spotlight, reviving questions about his controversial ties to progressive environmental causes. Ellison, who served as the Attorney General since 2019, after more than a decade in Congress, has long drawn conservative criticism for aligning his office with left-wing priorities, from climate litigation to political fights over immigration enforcement. Now it's a federal investigation underway into what prosecutors allege was a massive scheme to siphon taxpayer funds meant to feed children during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ellison is facing intensified attention, and his long-simmering, controversial environmental ties are back under a harsher spotlight. The state attorney general has joined local Democrats in denouncing the fraud scandal, with Ellison calling it a truly despicable act, while also criticizing the Trump administration most recently for the presence of federal law enforcement. Okay, can we get to his scandal? The latest flashpoint centers on Ellison's 2021 meeting. Okay, but it's supposed to be, I want to get the climate. Okay, he met with the Feeding Our Future people, which were the ones that were really ripping everybody off. Ellison came under fire. The only way we can protect what we have is by inserting ourselves. Oh, hold on. I like this. Ellison came under fire earlier in January after details of that meeting resurfaced, including audio previously obtained by Fox News Digital, in which attendees discussed securing more funding and then pivot to political donations ahead of Ellison's 2022 reelection. The only way that we can protect what we have is by inserting ourselves into the political arena, putting our dollars in the right place, one attendee says on the recording, referring to backing candidates who will protect our interests. Ellison responds, "That's right." Ellison has denied wrongdoings, arguing he had no knowledge of the alleged crimes at the time. In an April 2025 op-ed in the Minnesota Star Tribune, he said he took the meeting in good faith and insisted he did nothing for them and took nothing from them. X is in the chat. A Minnesota woman convicted in the scheme alleged that Governor Tim Walz and Ellison were aware of the widespread fraud before it hit the nation's radar, which Ellison forcefully denied. She's a liar, fraudster, and manipulator of the highest order who has never acknowledged or accepted her guilt. Now she's on a media tour to deflect her guilt onto others instead of finally taking responsibility for the fraud scheme she ran. Okay. Have a drink of water here. Federal and state investigators meticulously examined the crimes Amy Bach and her accomplices committed. Bach alone is responsible for her own actions, which was proven in court beyond a shadow of doubt, and her claim about Attorney General Ellison is a lie with a shred of evidence behind it. Okay, here we go. Ellison has notably leaned into the left's climate agenda as Attorney General, accusing oil companies of decades of deception and disinformation, blaming them for delaying a transition to a lower carbon economy. Casting his lawsuit as part of a broader push to fight what he calls a climate crisis and preserve a livable world for future generations. Rewinding to God, this is a long damn article. Rewinding to Ellison's Attorney General career ahead of the scandal, Republicans have frequently taken names. I just want to see, where's the fraud, man? Just the results. Hold on, okay, Cher Edling. And then he's backed by Michael Bloomberg. I'm sorry, I thought this would be a little bit more to the point. We didn't really need to rehash his involvement in the Medicaid fraud. Where's the fraud at? Okay, Republican Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said in July 2025 that his committee was investigating the program for ethics concerns as they relate to left-wing interest groups potentially influencing climate matters. Minnesota House Republicans also have previously outlined that Ellison's office relied on Special Assistant Attorney General positions backed by the NYU program, a setup they said raised questions about independence and influence in a 2024 letter to the Attorney General. A trio of state lawmakers also said that they were troubled while working with Special Assistant Attorney General. Ellison's office also brought in Sher Edling under an incentive-based fee program. Calling the arrangement a cause for concern given the scale and political sensitivity of the state's climate lawsuit. So basically he's using state funds to pay Sher Edling from New York to come in to find problems. Okay, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought he was getting kickbacks. He might be getting kickbacks, but explain why it was necessary for your office to retain Sher Edling to litigate the Minnesota climate litigation, despite already having 2 special assistant attorneys general working on this litigation full-time in addition to your existing staff. I engaged Sher Edling to ensure that the AGO has sufficient bench strength to handle case and discovery and trial. The AGO... Okay, I'm bored with this. Yeah, this was not what I thought it was going to be. What else we got? I think we're about done with Minnesota. That's about it for Minnesota. So Minnesota's fucked. Minnesota's weird. Minnesota has problems. Let's step back for a second. All right. We'll go ahead and turn you off. All right. So we killed Minnesota there. Oh, no, I had one more video about Minnesota. We had one more video about Minnesota. So you remember the guy that's been running around just like yelling and chirping at everybody in like he was at the Don Lemon thing. He was at the he's been in all the footage of all like the protests where they're, things are just going buck wild. Hold on, let me find him. Dude, damn it. This guy. You know this guy?
Residents, but my wife just showed me a Reddit post.
So this guy is crashing the fuck out. This guy. This will be the last thing in Minnesota. I just wanted to show you this. So he's been the anti-ICE guy. He's been like the face of anti-ICE. He's not from Minnesota. So here we go.
I'm over here moving to a more permanent residence, but my wife just showed me a Reddit post talking shit about me, saying I came to Minnesota for fucking clout, for profit, and that I'm taking away from the local fucking organizations. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you not realize how many fucking local organizations we support every single fucking day? Do you not realize how much I fucking sacrificed? I have been protesting every single fucking day since October. I've been beat down, arrested, shot right in the face with a fucking OC cannon fucking spray. I've had a knee on my fucking neck. I'm facing 10 years in fucking federal prison for supporting a local organization's protest. And you're telling me I'm taking away from what Minnesota's doing? Every single dime I spend is going back into the community. I fucking share fundraisers for local organizations every single fucking day, but I'm taking away from the fucking community? I'm a Minnesotan now, motherfuckers. I love this place. I love this how you resist. I love your community. That's why I stayed here, to show what's happening here, to show the rest of the world, to use my influence, to show people how you know how to resist already, how you're building the framework for the fucking revolution. So anybody that's hating on me for raising over $100,000 while I was in fucking jail because I need a fucking defender, I need a lawyer, you know how fucking expensive a federal fucking attorney is? So fuck you. Fuck you for saying that. I love the people. I do this every single day for the people because I was a history major. I know what fucking happens next and I'm fucking scared. So if you want to say I'm doing it for fucking influence and fucking profit, for one, I ain't profiting shit, and for two, fuck you.
There was, I believe him. He wouldn't spit on me. I mean, if I get spit on, and you're showing me you spit on me, I'm cool, I guess. All right, what'd you post, dude? Hold on. In the Yakuza news section, we can look at it. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, I saw that. That's actually in my in my like little roundup, like random stuff. But yeah, Billie Eilish is getting sued because she said her property is on stolen land and they want it back. Oh, honey. Oh, honey, 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 honey. Oh boy. Anyway, um, okay. Let's take a break from the news. We're gonna have a brief little interlude, and then we'll probably go. Let's see, what do we got here? But yeah, that guy, that guy, that guy's getting fucked over, without a doubt. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark off that we talked about ICE today. And I haven't done Elon's World yet. We'll do that. Oh, we watched. We've gone through Minnesota. We watched the guy crash out for a little bit. Oh, I just got told to fuck myself. Here, I'll share this. I always love. I shit post on Twitter. That's kind of my thing. But not a beloved celebrity. My God, I would love to see Elon Musk imprisoned in Europe for his crimes. And my response was, what crimes? Making sure people in war zones can still access the internet? Facilitating a functional and attractive electric car? Pioneering reusable rockets so we can sooner achieve our dreams of life in the stars? What exactly do you speak of? Fuck yourself. You win, buddy. You win. Other notifications. What are my other notifications? Oh yeah, I kind of was ratioing this one guy, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah. Let's. I want to go over here. So this is about 30 minutes long. We might not watch it all, but if you guys are a lot of people are familiar with the movie, but they don't understand that the Cannonball Run is a real thing. It's a real race that you could, well, it's not a race anymore. It's just kind of a time trial that you can participate in every year. You just show up and you go do it. I had a buddy of mine. We were going to try to complete the Cannonball Run in a $5,000 car to do the transnational whole thing in a $5,000 car and see if we could get it to the end without it blowing up. Almost got it set up, and then he had a kid, so we didn't do it. But we were all about it, and it was going to take us probably about 3 weeks to do. And his wife was down, and then she got pregnant, and he was like, "Oh, can't do it," and then we never got back to it. But this is the guys that set this record.
Okay, it's not looking good up ahead. You know, we have snow, we have ice. Eastbound I-40 has already been closed over Flagstaff.
So Joni Mitchell always said, you don't know what you got until it's gone. And in the case of Cannonball, sometimes you don't even realize or take the time to realize what you had before it's already gone. And in April of 2022, Wes and Mark Spence and I set the coast to coast to coast Cannonball record. And we went in a week's time from being 3 guys with a crazy plan to 3 guys with a world record to 3 guys who were in second place. It's really easy to look back on that and say, well, just go out and do it again, right? You were only beat by 9 minutes. And that's generally people who have never done a Cannonball before and don't realize everything it takes to go in and prep and build a car and be ready for it. But a good thing that we had was Grady and Bennett and Christopher were really good friends of ours. We had a group chat and everything. We always talked about, is there time out there even? Is it worth going out there? Because you always have to like weigh the risk versus the reward of going out for a
So these guys are going in like really fast cars. I wanted to go in like a $5,000 like beater that could barely get out of a driveway. And just see if we could get there. If we could limp this bitch over the finish line. Didn't care how long it took. And just throw a bunch of extra tires in the trunk. You know, do it like they used to do it in the old days. Just see if you could get there.
Cannonball run, especially a record-setting run. And we said, you know, there's probably a couple hours out there, but it isn't a one-way run where we've seen a lot of times recently. People are getting down in like the low 30s. We had obviously a couple of high 20s recently, but that's a one-way run. And it's easy to say, well, if I leave at this time and I end at this time, I can just thread the needle and I can hit traffic perfectly and I can hit weather perfectly and all that. But to turn around and go back and do it again all at one shot, all that math goes out the window. So really taking a shot at a coast-to-coast-to-coast record run, doing it again, trying to trim off all that time, it's not as easy as it sounds. So it took about 2 years for us to really get kind of everything back together, get the car set up and whatnot, and we were finally ready to go and try to set the record again. And everyone who's done a Cannonball will tell you the two most constant things in Cannonball are you're gonna have fuel issues and you're gonna have co-driver issues. And it wasn't really an issue at first. Wes was back in, we knew that right away. Spence was kind of on the fence, he had some stuff going on, so we understood. It was about a month, 2 months before the run, and he said, I'm out, I can't do it. And we said, we respect that, Mark. And we had a backup, we knew we needed a contingency, so called Greg, said, Greg, you're definitely in, Spence is out, Greg's all on board. And about 2 weeks before
Look at all the
run,
bugs on that windshield.
Greg calls me and he goes, hey, I really feel terrible. I have this family thing going on. And he and I talked about it. It was a true family emergency. And it's one of these, like, we've said, like, time out, Greg. This is family stuff. You got to get your priorities in order. Don't feel bad about wrecking our run. Like, you got to go take care of this stuff. So took care of that. And we said, all right, so we still need a third co-driver. And you can't just pick anybody for this. It's not just call anyone who's ever wanted to do a Cannonball. If you want to go out and back and try to set a record, it's a really difficult thing to do. So I start going through the list. Wes and I are talking quite a bit, trying to figure out who do we invite along, who do we ask to come. And we had it narrowed down to about 3 or 4 people. Start making phone calls. I called Bronson. He was my co-driver on the US Express. Phenomenal driver, even better guy. Would have loved to do it with him. He couldn't do it. He was busy with work. So I said, okay, got like 2, 3 more people here. Called Dave Maher, Alex Roy's co-driver from 3104. Dave said he'd be interested, but he had something on the following Monday from when we wanted to go, so he couldn't make it. So okay, I'm gonna try Chris Michaels. I know he's had this crazy busy month. He probably can't do it, but I've got to try this guy. Like, fast guy, great person. Would love to have him on the team. So I call Chris and I'd say, hey, this is what we're doing. I'd love to have you on board. I literally just got done talking to Dave Maher. So this is how high up on the list you are. This is how important you are. Can you do it?
There are myriad fun things about being in the Cannonball community, but one of my personal favorites is when you get those phone calls, kind of like in the movie, you know, you get that kind of cryptic phone call, like, we're putting a team together. So I'm in the middle of something and I get this message from Nick and it just says, you gonna take a road trip? And like, we all know what that means. And it's just these like fun moments, you know, we're all friends. We all know each other's driving abilities, things like that. You're very proud anytime somebody calls you up. But yeah, there's just this great kind of cinematic quality to it when you just get this little phone call of like, you gonna take a road trip? Yeah, what do you got? You know, coast to coast to coast. Are you in? Yeah, what do we got? Well, I got a Saab 9.5. It's got all these countermeasures, blah, this, and this. You know, we got front and rear laser. We've got, you know, this, got radio, we got all this kind of stuff. All right, cool, that sounds awesome. Where do we meet? You know, it sounds, on the phone, it sounds like you're planning some sort of drug deal or something, but it's really just speeding. But it's just
It sounds like you're planning some kind of drug deal, but it's really just speeding. It's really just speeding. We're just going to break all the traffic laws on the entire stretch of highway across the United States, and then we're turning around and we're coming back. We'll get in and out.
a wonderful moment, and you know, I was friends with these guys already, so I was 100% in as soon as I got the call.
To talk about like the preparation and stuff for these runs, like Nick was saying, we have to go through all this logistics with spotters, co-drivers, all these people that are going to help us go across country. So a part of this planning, we have this massive spreadsheet. It probably totals in like 3 feet long, and it has everything broken down from what time from the East Coast, what time on the West Coast, each fuel stop, all that stuff, saying that this is our points for this time. It's basically like a video game. You have all these checkpoints. So at each point in time along the trip, there was a certain...
With YouTube Premium, I can watch all my videos ad-free. Because if I don't have time to call...
area we need to be in, and we had to maintain that. So you can imagine all the work that took. And I say Nick's a wizard when it comes to spreadsheets, and he's like Gandalf, but just with Excel. So he does his magic. We get all these forms put together. You know, now we're at the big day. We get to the start, and we have friends there. We have spotters there. We have all sorts of people there just ready to watch us set sail across the country. So we take off at a quick but controlled pace through the city, not like the last world record where that went a lot faster, but we knew it considering the time and, you know, location we're at. So we get out, we hit to the, like, go to the...
Okay, did you guys see the readout on their speedometer there? Quick but controlled. They were going 106 miles an hour through the city. Quick but controlled.
First toll booth, and that's when I smashed the gas in the Saab. The wheels broke free. I smoked the tires, and, you know, in the words of the rabbit, it's like, Lord help me, I have a race car. This Saab had major upgrades from the last time, from 2022, and I definitely could feel the difference. And, you know, I was all excited because it was a total new beast that we had on our hands.
You always hear about the team in the car, but what it really is when you're trying to cannonball, and especially when you're going for a record like this, is you have all these people who are there to help you. And that's one of the best parts about being in the cannonball community and being in that fraternity of lunatics is when you make those phone calls, everyone just answers and they go, yeah, how can I help? What can I do? So normally...
So he's going to explain it, but of course they have, like, you know, your radar spoilers and all that stuff, but they also have people that will meet them on certain parts of the road and block for them, move through, spot cops, call back.
For a cannonball run, a one-way run, there's like a mission control team. That's usually like a person, maybe 2 people, and to stay up for 30 hours or roundabout there, not the end of the world. When you want to go out and back, and now all of a sudden it's a 60-hour adventure, 60-plus hour adventure, that becomes something where you need like a 3-man team. Started asking around, and we built the perfect mission control team. We had Dan Doucette, Sean Mason, Mason Dibley. They were running point. They had set up their own spreadsheets, which were amazing. They had set up like a shift schedule to man like who was going to be the main person at which times. And whenever they were available, they were on anyway. And then as you're reaching out to these other people and you're saying, hey, can you help out? Can you spot? Can you do this? Can you do that? All of a sudden we have this adjunct mission control team who they're only supposed to be, or I should say they're only required to help out with like a certain thing, but they just want to be part of it and they want to help you achieve your goal and your dream. And so all of a sudden we had probably a half a dozen extra people who were on our walkie-talkie app the whole time, helping out with route planning, helping out with weather, helping out with traffic, and it was amazing the amount of help we had.
So as somebody who really enjoys speeding, I can't really convey the confidence that you get when you have a mission control team like the ones that these guys had put together, and just the car itself. You know, you're driving with laser jammers, you've got police radio, you have every bit of Waze and JVB1 and highway radar and flight tracker and all this electronics. You've got wealth of guys behind you that do the same thing. They know what to look for. You've got people on the radio that are letting you know about the police. You got people that are watching weather, watching traffic. It's everything you ever wanted to get away with the thing you wanted to do. And it's just such an empowering feeling when you take the wheel. We had this one really, really fantastic moment where I was behind the wheel, Nick's spotting, Wes is trying to get some sleep, and we're flying through Ohio, and Wes hears us get called in on the police radio. And immediately, Mission Control can confirm it. You know, we're like, okay, this is happening, here's where we are, is there an exit, get off? No. Wes had a friend who was a trucker who was actually spotting for us. And, you know, somebody who grew up with Smokey and the Bandit and all that, like having, you know, an actual trucker, like looking for the cops for you was just so much fun. So like we're listening to the police radio. We got Slack Cat on the CB. He's like scouting ahead. Like we're looking for where they're waiting for us. Like there's just these really, really great moments where you realize your life is like a movie, and it's just so much fun, and it's so empowering to have so many friends behind you, new friends, old friends, just all these people who, as Nick said, they're like everybody is for the mission.
After one of the fuel stops, I'm back behind the wheel, cruising, driving like every other leg. Everything's going well. But then at one point, I'm just about to overtake a vehicle, and I slide over, change lanes. I downshift and throttle up. And as soon as I throttle up, it felt like a hand grabbed us and shook the entire car. And I'm sitting here like thinking, oh no, it's the transmission. What other problems that we have? We continue to travel down the road, and we're talking back and forth like, okay, what are we going to do? We have this problem. We need to resolve it. So we hit up Mission Control. Mission Control tells us that there is a gas station coming up. There is just one gas station because we're in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico. We get to this fuel station. As we pull in, the car just shuts off completely, like just dies. And this is the first time the car has been off the entire trip from the start of New York all the way to New Mexico. Did pretty well, but it was very disappointing that as soon as you pulled in, it just turned off. And this had to be the windiest place as well. As soon as we opened the car doors, we had plastic bags get ripped out of the car. I look over at Chris, I said, hey, you better hold on that cowboy hat or that thing is gone. So as we're sitting here looking for vacuum leaks, anything obvious, we couldn't locate any of the problems. Nick has a moment of realization that it could be bad gas from the one fuel stop because it was probably about an hour of driving into this leg that this problem occurred. We go inside this gas station. It's a really small gas station. Find some kind of fuel treatment to stable out the gas. So on top of that, not only do we have a factory fuel tank full of this bad gas, well, in Cannonball, you have an auxiliary tank. This auxiliary tank also is contaminated with this bad gas. So going through this process, we threw 2 of the jugs in the trunk, 1 in the main tank, went over to the fuel pump and topped off with fresh fuel, hoping that would resolve our problem.
133 miles an hour right now.
Everything seemed to be okay. And a few miles down the road, the same thing happened. It sputtered, shuddering, all that stuff like that. Now I'm thinking I'm having a deja vu moment because back in 2022, a similar thing happened because Mark and I were zoned out somewhere in Colorado the last time, and we left the auxiliary fuel pumps on, overfilled the main tanks, and caused the same sort of issues. We have like this whole driver meeting while we're trying to resolve this issue in the car, saying like, hey, this is what we could do, and maybe we could stop at the next gas station, go to Walmart, there's a parts store down the road, we can try to maybe fuel pump something. But I said, listen, the last time I had to muscle through it and just work my way through. So they all agreed that, yeah, go for it, see what we can get out of it. So as I'm getting to like 25% throttle, it's sputtering, and I'm just working my way through it, working my way, trying to summon every bit of pedal voodoo I can out of the Saab. And it eventually clears out. It just, all of a sudden the RPMs changed, it's smooth, and I'm like, listen, boys, we're back in business.
Where are they at?
It finally clears up. We're finally
Second
making some
Mesa,
pace,
New Mexico.
and it's starting to rain. And, when you're doing a cannonball, things like rain and snow and all that can completely derail your effort. So we're looking ahead. I will say there were some gorgeous clouds. Some of these, cloud formations and weather formations we're driving into were just stunning to look at, especially out in the desert. But it did not bode well for what was up the road. Nick's driving shift is about to wrap up, so it's my turn behind the wheel. Thankfully, he cleared the bad gas out. We get on with Mission Control, and they're like, okay, it's not looking good up ahead. We have snow, we have ice. Eastbound I-40 has already been closed over Flagstaff.
Ooh.
We're coming up on this sort of make or break point. And, of course, then everybody on the team, it's all hands on deck. Everybody's trying to find new routes, whatever. Is there any way around this? No, not really. Out west, there's just not a lot of little surface roads like we have back east. You're either on the interstate or you're 100 miles out of the way. The gamble was, okay, we can go ahead 2.5 hours and hope that westbound I-40 has not been closed like eastbound, or we go ahead and pull it now and veer off and take 2-lane back roads down mountains down to Phoenix, which is not on the way to Redondo Beach, and go around that way. It's like, risk it all and hope you make it. But if you get turned around, you're done. You're going to lose so much time, 5 hours of backtracking there and back. So you're toast. So it's like, risk it on an hour and a half extra time going down the mountain to Phoenix, or gamble it all to go over the mountain. So the decision was made. Better to have all of something than all of nothing.
I guess I should pause this here.
We veer off.
I don't know if I've never been on a cross country road trip. Not in a car, obviously. But But I think the furthest I've driven from the East Coast is probably Missouri, and then turned around and came back. I just had to go out there for work. But I don't know. Is this something you guys would want to do? I mean, obviously not together, but I mean, this would be kind of a dream of mine to just pull something like that. But I've already mentioned that, like, me and my buddy wanted to do it in like a beater car, see what we could get. I think there is like a record for, cars that aren't kitted out like this, obviously. But I just wanted to do it, see if it can be done. But it just looks like I mean, it looks like such an experience to just do it one time. Even if I was just riding along and holding a map and, you know, getting cigarettes for the guys, I would like to be in the back. I'd like to be in the back seat.
We get off in this little town, and now it's dark, it's raining, it's snowing a little bit. Wasn't what we wanted at the time, but it turned out to be a pretty magical Cannonball moment in that, when you read, Brock's books back in the day, when they're running on 2-lane roads and it wasn't just these big smooth highways and all that, we all kind of got into that situation. We're on these little 2-lane blacktop roads, cutting through the desert, down these mountain passes. It's curvy. We can't see anything off the road. We're actually using like the GPS to kind of figure out what the next curve is. There's nobody out there. There's no cell phone coverage. There's no gas. Joe Petralia is from Arizona. He knows that area really well. He's like, okay, look, you're going to be out in space. Like, if you run out of gas, there's nobody to help you. You break down, there's no cell phone coverage. Like, you guys are going to go on the dark side of the moon for about 2 hours, and you're going to come out the other side in Phoenix.
Hardest drive I did was North Carolina Beach to Indianapolis, leaving at 9:30 at night, checking in a hotel 10 minutes before the conference I was going to start, and slept through the entire first day.
And we're going to make it. So that was the plan. Wes is trying to get some sleep in the back. I'm driving, Nick's spotting, and we just embark on this 2-lane cannonball down through the most remote parts of southwestern United States. Just had a ball. It was curvy. It was tight. We're looking for wildlife on the thermal. We're, literally just using the GPS to figure out what this curve's going to do. Came up, we just outside of Phoenix, called out with some girl and some, like a Hellcat or something that wanted to race us for a little while, and that went away pretty quickly. But anyhow, we made it. And we meet Joe at this gas station in Phoenix.
What's up, Barry?
Nick takes the wheel and then proceeds.
We're currently watching these guys set the coast to coast to coast record in the Cannonball Run. We're just taking a little break from the news at the moment. We had time to. We talked about conspiracy theories earlier. We've gone through all what's fucked up in Minneapolis at the moment, and we're taking a little news break. I think we're going to go into either Asia or France next.
To just make up so much of the time we lost.
World news briefs, and I got some more little things like this that we can watch in the interim. I'm just going to keep going as much as I can today.
We are back on I-10 now, heading into LA, going to, was it I-10? I can't remember what the highway was now. I was so tired at this point. I get in the back, I try to sleep. He takes the wheel. Next thing I know, I wake up, we're pulling into the Portofino.
So like Chris was saying, it was really cool because it was almost kind of like your Cannonball and like Brock, right? We're taking I-10 in, we're passing the dinosaur in Palm Springs where the ambulance broke down. So you're doing it just like Brock did. We pull into Portofino.
Oh yeah, Brock did it in the ambulance.
Run in 2021. I did 32:07, and that was a really cool time because it tied Diem and Turner. And when I learned about Cannonball, that was the time to beat. So I was really excited about that. When we did coast to coast to coast, the first time out in April of 2022, we got into Portofino in 32:01. Super close to being sub 32. I knew the car had sub 32 in it. I wanted to beat 32 hours. So when we pulled in 31:39, after everything that we'd been through with the gas, after the amazing driving that Christopher had done through Arizona in the middle of nothing, to really pull in that kind of a time was just, it was a phenomenal feeling. We had a good guy, Sean Keeley, who was on our team, and he lives out by Portofino, and he met us at the turnaround. It's the middle of the night. I had shipped a spare tire again, just like last time. So get out of the car as we whip it around. Sean's there. Give him a great big hug, big sweaty hug. And we look over the car. We're like, okay, doesn't need the extra tire. Or is the suspension good? We sent off a few jumps, so I want to make sure that it was still mostly intact. No major roadkill in the vehicle or anything like that. 3 minutes, we had done the turn, and we were back on the road, which last time was 11 minutes. And obviously that proved to be a huge disadvantage later on. So we really worked to tighten that up this time.
As we travel through all these states and stuff, we have thermal cameras on the car. And as I'm driving, And I start noticing all these like balls of fur all over the road. And I'm like, man, this is not good because I don't want to get surprised by any animals whatsoever. You know, the thermal camera's on, you'll see like, you know, a heat signature off in the woods and all these little blips of danger that are off to the side. So at one point, I'm going to change lanes, shift over, and as I'm shifting over, there is a massive deer carcass right on the white line. Now, in my head, I'm doing a damage assessment at 100 miles an hour plus and thinking, there goes the bumper, light bar, any magical part, we're going to lose it. I had no choice but just to center that deer and roll over it. As you're going over it, I'm just cringing, like thinking, just don't rip anything out from underneath it. Nick did make me aware that there's a skid plate underneath the vehicle, which made me feel a little bit better. But again, this deer, I don't know how it fit under the vehicle. It was so big on the line. And then at one of the fuel stops, Nick does his normal assessment, looks around the vehicle. We take off again. I get in the back seat. And then Nick's telling me that he thought the exhaust wrap was falling off, but come to find out, it was actually deer hide that was all hung up in the rear suspension and all those parts back there. And then also, as we were traveling back through on our way, we knew that there was another team chasing their own personal record in Audi. So, long story short, we get Matthew Evans in our tracking device here so he can monitor where we're at. And he's sort of new to the cannonball world and like the spotting. And he basically said, yeah, I'm going home and I could spot you, no big deal. As we're driving, he's talking to us and he's like, are you guys going for a world record? And we're like, yes. Then next question comes out, are you on pace? And we're like, yes. Then as I tell him, it's Nick and Wes up here in the vehicle, he then slowly starts putting it together. I get a text back, all caps, Nick. And I can feel that excitement coming through because now he's finally realized that the Cannonball Saab is now back in action. We're going back for that world record. And he now flips his switch to full Cannonball mode. He is now traveling over 120 miles an hour because he's trying to clear as much road as humanly possible for
Nice.
us. And that was an awesome feeling.
I feel like I certainly drew the good straw on this run in that, you know, I got to drive in the mountains so much, which I love the curves, just sailing along. The bit of I-40 that had been closed on the way out was now open. So we got a clear run on the way back, and I'm just hitting the mountains above Flagstaff. And, you know, there's snow on the side of the road, but the road is clear. Mission Control confirmed that the road temperature was, I don't know how they do this or how they know this, but they just know things that you can come up with the most random question as you're driving, and somebody will give you an answer in 10 seconds. So they somehow know the road temperature is 35 degrees. So the car's sticking fine, and it was just this amazing, glorious run through the mountains, all these beautiful curves.
Here you are.
Is that Zen?
So we talk about all this like police interactions and stuff like that, and I was the one that happened to get into a little bit of a situation with some officers. As I was motoring along, we come up on this one straightaway, and I was pretty much at the point of, well, I see a cop, and let me just risk it and see if I can get around him. So I attempt to overtake him in the fast lane just because, I don't know, I was having one of those moments of like, I don't care, let's just see where this goes. I roll up onto him. As I'm passing him on the left, I see that it's a sheriff's vehicle, and just as I crest around the front of his vehicle, he jumps in behind us, throws his lights on, and I'm like, oh, great. So I slow down, but he overtakes us. So I'm like, okay, weird, but I'll allow that. Like, I definitely can enjoy.
No, he wanted to race.
I'm not on the side of the road now talking to him, and I get behind him. Well, little did we know, this escort would last 150 miles of doing a max of 70 miles an hour. So think about all this, you hear how fast we're going and all this excitement that we have. We also run into these very long and boring trips when something like that happens, because now he's already pretty much told me that he's going to pull me over if I attempt to do it again. So we just had to sit back, relax, and just talk car stories the entire 150 miles.
Getting into the car for the last shift, it was not my plan, but it was just the way that the schedule worked out, that I was going to have the last shift driving into Portofino, and I had the last shift driving into New York too. There's a lot of pressure on you. Obviously, you want to have a good time, you want to be fast, but we knew that we were on pace at this point to break the record, and we knew we had some cushion built in. But I'm looking at the timer, and I'm talking to Wes, I'm talking to Christopher, and I'm the kind of guy who's always like, well, if we already are going to achieve this goal, why not have a better goal? We can probably beat something faster. So we started talking about, you know, can we get it under 64? can we get it under 63? And I'm pushing the car. And when you have a cannonball team, everyone kind of has different jobs. We all want to go fast, obviously, but you have the guy who's really into like strategy and building out the plan and, you know, stick to the plan. You plan the drive and drive the plan, kind of a deal. And then you have the guy who's really into countermeasures and the tech and all that kind of stuff. And you have the guy who's just, I drive car, I go fast, right? The fast guy in the car. We all had done a little bit of everything, but I would say the fastest guy on our run was absolutely Christopher. And I don't know, he says it was the luck of the draw on shifts. I think he's just the fastest driver in the car. But it was kind of funny because we're heading into New York, and Wes and I are bouncing off each other. We're like, we're gonna go fast. We're gonna get it down to 63. We're gonna get down to 62. And Chris is the one saying, we are one pothole away from losing this whole thing. Like, we have had plenty of inverted speed bumps, as Wes put it. We've hit plenty of deer. This car has been airborne several times now on this run. Let's just try to be safe and get it in. But at the same time, I'm going, I think we can do better. So as we're going in, we've got spotters picking us up along the way in New Jersey, and we get into the tunnel. Somehow or another, we passed our spotters getting into the tunnel. We still don't know how that happened. But we pull into New York City, and it, just like Grady and his team's run, our spotter team at this point had dispersed across Manhattan, and they're in different cars, and they're all coming across in the walkie-talkies. They're like, 38th is backed up, 30th is backed up, 34th looks good, take 34th. And so as we come out the tunnel, we say, okay, we're gonna take 34th, we're coming through. All of a sudden you hear on the walkie-talkie app, blockers, get to your places. And they start blocking traffic for us in Manhattan, which is amazing. And we're whipping down 34th Street. We take a right onto, I think it was Madison. We go down to 30th. And as we're turning onto 30th, all of a sudden, because you have to go around the block, right? Manhattan, it's a bunch of one-ways, so you can't just go on 31st. You have to go 30th and around the block. As we're getting down to 30th, pulling in behind us, I hear sirens. And I look in my mirror, because I'm, oh my gosh, we're like a block from the finish. And here it is. I look in the mirror, and it's Dave Collins. The same spotter who came up on us in his Police Interceptor Explorer in 2022 is coming up behind us here in Manhattan in his C2C Express car. And he's got 7 different types of sirens going, trying to get cars moving. There's a red light in front of us, and I've got the strobes going on the Saab. The Saab's got strobe lights on it to get people out of the way, and he's got the siren going, and finally the light turns green, and cars are getting out of the way, and we come whipping around on 3rd Avenue, and we come whipping down around onto 31st Street, right up in front of Red Ball. Total time in, 61 hours and 59 minutes. So we had beaten Grady and Christopher and Bennett's time by like 3 hours and 20 minutes at that point. Way more time than we had ever imagined was possible on this run. Just to put that in perspective, we averaged sub 31 both ways on this run, which was unreal. So 30 hours, 17 minutes coming back, 31:39 going out with the reroute and the police escorts and all that kind of stuff. It was just crazy to think that we could have done something like this. We pull in, we've got a bunch of our spotters are there. Rob Spector, who had been one of our adjunct mission control guys, who this guy, he's better at spreadsheets. He's forgotten more about spreadsheets than I'll ever know. He had planned everything out. He was tracking us. Every exit we went through, he knew what we were on pace for. He had helped spotting in New York City, and somehow he was blocking a street like 4 blocks away, and I don't think we were parked in front of Red Ball 30 seconds. He made better time at Red Ball than we did. And I spin around, and he's there giving me a great big hug. We had a couple other friends there.
Kirkland bottle of
Wes's
champagne.
girlfriend is there. Rob Pryor's there with a bottle of champagne. So
From
we
Kirkland.
had champagne. Half of it got on us. Half of it got on the car. I think we drank a little, but it was just a phenomenal feeling. And obviously the first calls I make are to Grady and Bennett and just talking to them. And obviously they're very congratulatory, and it's good to have friends like that in the community. And then Christopher, I think, had the best phone call at Red Ball. I turn around, I just got off the phone with Bennett, I think it was, and Chris calls me over, and I can see he and Wes are talking on a phone. He's got the phone out in front of him, and I look down at the phone and just scrolling across, it says Pam Yates. I did this, and now I get to talk to Pam. Like, I don't even know what I'm gonna say. And I've met Pam several times, and Lady Pamela doesn't do it justice. She is a wonderful, wonderful person, and I am just so humbled that she thinks what she does of us as a community and everything. And she's so respectful of us. I think it's because we try to be respectful of everything Brock put together and the legacy of Cannonball and everything. But she was so amazing on the phone, congratulatory, telling us how proud she was, how proud she thought Brock would have been. So that was just, it was super, super meaningful to have that phone call with her at the end of the run.
All right, so that's
our sponsor for this month, the VinWiki car.
That's the Cannonball Run. Kind of fun, huh? That was kind of fun. Little dive into the Cannonball Run and what it takes to get it done. There's a there we go. There's another thing that they do. I'm sure everybody's heard of like the 24 hours of Le Mans. There's 24 hours of lemons, which is a really fun concept. Basically, you get like the most fucked up cars you can get, $500 cars, and you try to keep them running for 24 hours around a track. And people just come with like all this jacked up shit. It's great. We might watch that a little bit later. It's really fun. And there's a lot of different drivers that do it. To race a $500 car for 24 hours. That's great. Anyway, what are we gonna do next, guys? Where do you guys want to go? If anybody made it through my my indulgence of watching a video about Cannonball, my list is always subject to change, but right now we have already gone through ICE. We could go a little bit about what's going on in Asia right now. Obviously, there's Iran. We've got today in Elon's world. What's going on with Elon? I do have a whole thing about France. There's some news coming out of France. It's a little bit concerning, or a lot of bit concerning. We've already done Minnesota. Well, let me pull my window. But this is my to-do list at the moment. Anything you guys in particular want to talk about? I would be happy to do it. So yeah, this is just kind of basically what I've just got up here. I got some lore stuff. Excuse me. What do I have in here? The Great Pyramid of Giza might be 40,000 years old. I got that story. Maryland governor caught hiding food stamp fraud. What will happen if the U.S. pulls out of NATO? Europe's betrayal of America. And let's go. What do I have in Asia? Asia's a little bit fuckety right now. Let's just do France. France is a little bit quick. I don't know how much longer I can take it. I normally try to go about 3 hours. We've been 2 hours and 30 minutes into it. I might take a break for a little while and come back in the afternoon, like in a couple hours, and go through the rest of the stuff I had for today. But let's go into France real quick. Let's go France. Okay, so this is kind of France is concerning me a lot. Yeah, France is concerning me a lot. Okay, so I haven't read this yet, but it grabbed me. French magistrate reportedly summons 2 French Israelis over complicity in genocide. So this kind of struck me a little bit. Neely Kufer-Nauri and Rachel Twitu said to be accused of trying to block delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza. But they're calling that complicity in genocide. So we've already, as far as I know, we haven't officially recognized what happened in Gaza as a genocide. If it was a genocide, it's like the worst genocide ever, as far as being ineffective. A French investigating magistrate has issued summonses to 2 French Israeli nationals in relation to complicity in genocide. Over the allegations, they tried to block the delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza. French media have reported. The summonses, which reportedly mark the first time a country has considered blocking of aid, complicity, and genocide, were issued for those names, which I'm going to try again. In July, in Le Monde, and Jean-François Pré reported they require Tutu, whose SAV 9 group obstructed and attacked aid convoys and Kufr Nauri of Israel is forever, which supported the actions to appear before a magistrate, but do not require their arrest. In 2024, the Biden administration described Saab 9 as violent and extremist group and imposed sanctions on it for blocking, harassing, and damaging humanitarian convoys. The sanctions were lifted by the Trump administration. Israel restricted aid shipments into Gaza during the war, causing widespread hunger and tipping parts of the territory into human-made famine last summer. Saab 9 opposed even the limited shipments that entered. Kufr Nauri told the pro-Israel news site The News, wow, in an interview on the 16th of January, that she had been summoned, describing the French investigation as anti-Semitic madness and saying that she would no longer be able to set foot in France. She said on social media on Tuesday, in addition to the military fronts on which our IDF, Israel Defense Forces soldiers, are fighting with bravery, an additional front is open, that of truth and justice. I am proud to fight on this front, and no one will silence me. Tutu said the charges were political persecution. Enclave Saab 9 demonstrations were nonviolent responses to Hamas organizing mass diversions of humanitarian aid during the war. Allegations that are unsubstantiated. Well, it seems both sides are unsubstantiated, in my opinion. I will always fight to defend the truth, my people, and my country, she said in a social media post, adding an Israeli flag at the end of her message. Summonses do not automatically lead to arrest, although people can potentially be detained after interview. They can be issued by investigating magistrates without approval from anti-terrorist prosecutors who are responsible for genocide cases. Pro-Israeli French activists were also being investigated for public incitement to genocide. Is this a real law? Sources close to the investigation told the Agence France-Presse with summonses potentially being issued for 10 other people. The initial complaint was filed last year by the Palestinian Center for Human Rights and the Palestinian rights group Al-Haq and Al-Mizan. Clements Bektar, a lawyer for the group, said the investigation was the first of its kind. Other legal complaints have been filed in France for war crimes over the deaths of Franco-Palestinian children in Gaza and against 2 Franco-Israeli soldiers. These warrants mark the first judicial recognition that deliberately depriving Palestinians in Gaza of humanitarian aid can constitute complicity in genocide. The French-Palestinian collective Nidal said the summonses showed the strength of the Franco-Palestinian diaspora, which is building legal resistance in pursuit of justice it deserves. Said it was very pleased the French justice system had acted. Marianne Lafou, Jamia whatever, 2 lawyers representing the French Jewish Union for Peace, told Le Monde the summonses reflect the very serious and real nature of the alleged acts. They added complicity in genocide is not an abstract concept. These are concrete and specific actions that are being investigated by France's Central Office for Combating Crimes Against Humanity and Hate Crimes. Well, population of Palestinian diaspora in France. So yeah, there's no way to tell how many Palestinians are in France because they do not collect ethnic statistics. The population is part of a larger, significant community of Arab and Middle Eastern people with Middle Eastern descent. So I don't know. Is this? What do you guys think? Is this legitimate to prosecute people for complicity in genocide for actions taken in another country that was at war? Also, your country as well. I mean, you're the dual citizens. So, is this something, or is this like because of the large Palestinian collective in France? Is this a political prosecution? I don't know. This is just this just struck me as a little bit weird. It struck me as a little bit weird, and I don't really know like the Saab 9. What is Saab 9? Saab 9 activities. The group, which claims to have thousands of supporters, blocks, harasses, and vandalizes aid trucks at various border crossings, most notably the Kerem Shalom crossing, arguing that aid should not be delivered while hostages remain in Gaza. Okay. Violence actions have sometimes turned violent, with members dumping aid, damaging trucks, and in May 2024, looting and setting fire to aid trucks in the West Bank. Well, the West Bank is in Gaza. U.S. sanctions, United States State Department imposed sanctions on Sob9, designated it as a violent extremist group. The sanctions froze their assets. Reports suggest the group has connections to Israeli settlers and has received report from far-right Israeli politicians. Huh. Interesting. I thought that was interesting. Like France just seems to be overstepping a little bit. Right now, they're still trying to, Marine Le Pen was supposed to pretty much be a shoe-in to take on the role of prime minister, and they're seeking to ban her from running. So French prosecutors will seek to ban far-right leader Marine Le Pen and officials from her National Rally Party from holding office. So the entire party can't hold office. The Nationalist Party, putting her 2027 presidential bid at stake. Le Pen, 57, is seeking to overturn a March 2025 ruling that found her guilty of misusing European Parliament funds and hiring of aides from 2004 to 2016. During the crucial appeal trial that started last month, Le Pen acknowledged some people performed work for her party, then known as the National Front, while being paid as EU parliamentary aides, calling it a mistake. One of the prosecutors, French names, Thierry, said Tuesday the alleged misappropriation of public funds represents a very serious breach of probity that gave the party a concrete advantage in the form of substantial savings made at the expense of European Parliament. Well, I mean, come on, they're aides, dude. Thierry said prosecutors would request a key Paris appeals court to find party officials guilty and ban them from elected office. Details of the sentences to be requested are expected later on Tuesday. I think France is just in a tailspin right now, as far as, like, I think they're a really divided. They feel like a really divided nation at this point. You have the party in power trying to keep the Nationalist Party from taking control and using lawfare to prevent them from holding office of any kind. And this seems like such a, I don't know, I don't know how much parliamentary aides make, but this doesn't seem like it rises to the level of preventing members of that party from holding any elected office. Obviously, I'm not French, and I don't really like to insert myself too much in their business, but with them going after Elon, their Digital Safety Act stuff, like, they're looking real weird to me right now. The appeal trial involving Le Pen, 10 other defendants in the National Rally Party, as a legal entity, is scheduled to last until next week. The court is expected to announce its verdict later, possibly before the summer. Speaking to journalists in the courtroom Tuesday, Le Pen said, "I never expect a pleasant surprise when I set foot in a courtroom." You shouldn't. "I'm not the one who decides. I don't hold the cards." Le Pen was seen as a potential frontrunner to succeed President Emmanuel Macron in 2027 until last year's ruling, which sent shockwaves through the French politics. Several scenarios are possible, from acquittal to another conviction that may bar Le Pen from running in 2027. She could also face an even tougher punishment if convicted anew, up to 10 years in prison and a fine of 1 million euros. If she becomes ineligible, she has designated her 30-year-old protege, Jordan Bardella, as her successor in the presidential bid. So, yeah, not sure what's going on in France right now, but it's concerning. I'm paying attention. I'm going to keep an eye on it. We obviously know that the X offices were raided. But we're seeing here, as the UK opens fresh investigation into Grok. I was more concerned about what's going on with UK. In a separate development, the UK's Information Commissioner's Office, the ICO, announced a probe into Google Musk AI tool Grok over its potential to produce harmful sexualized image and video content. Writing on X, Musk said the raid was a political attack. It is. It is 100% a political attack. I have no doubt in my mind that it is a political attack, 100%. No doubt about it. The company said in a statement that it was disappointed but not surprised and accused the Paris Public Prosecutor's Office of an abusive act. X also denied any wrongdoing and said the raid endangers free speech. It does. The investigation began in January 2025 when French prosecutors started looking into content recommended by the X algorithm before being widened in July that year to include Musk's controversial AI chatbot Grok, Is it really that controversial? I wouldn't think it was that controversial, to be honest. Yacarino also took to X to accuse French prosecutors of carrying out a political vendetta against Americans. To be clear, they are lying. Added Yacarino, who left the firm last year. Following, okay, yeah, we know all this. New UK investigation. Meanwhile, the UK authorities have given an update on their investigation into sexual deepfakes created by Grok and shared on X. The images, often made by using images of real women without their consent, prompted a barrage of criticism in January from the victims, online safety campaigners, and politicians. The company eventually intervened to prevent the practice after Ofcom and others launched investigations. In an update on Tuesday, Ofcom said it was continuing to investigate the platform and was treating it with a matter of urgency. But it added it was currently unable to investigate the creation of illegal images by Grok in this case because it did not have sufficient powers relating to chatbots. However, shortly afterwards, the ICO said it was launching its own probe in conjunction with Ofcom into processing of personal data in relation to Grok. The reports about Grok raised deeply troubling questions about how people's personal data has been used to generate intimate or sexualized images without their knowledge or consent, and whether the necessary safeguards were put in place to prevent this. See, this is just it. There are dozens of sites, at least dozens, where you can do the same thing. This isn't unique to Grok, but Elon and X are particularly targeted. I mean, you can go on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and you'll find the same things. But they're being targeted, and it's mostly because of Elon's outspoken nature as far as Europe stifling free speech in his opinion. In late January, the European Commission announced an investigation into its parent company, XAI, over concerns about the images. The Commission spokesperson said it was in touch with France over its search of the X's office in Paris. So they're working together. That's, it's a whole European thing. And I don't, it seems targeted to me. I think it seems targeted to everyone. And I don't think anybody's really denying it at this point. Pavel Durov, founder of the messaging app Telegram, criticized the French authorities on Tuesday, accusing France of being the only country in the world that is criminally persecuting all social networks that give people some degree of freedom. Don't be mistaken, this is not a free country, he added in a post on X. Durov was arrested and detained in France in August of 2024 over alleged moderation lapses on his messaging app, which French prosecutors' office said he failed to curb criminal activity. He was permitted to leave the country last March after the platform made some changes to the way it operates following the arrest. These included sharing some user data with authorities in response to legal requests. So yeah, that's France. Well, guys, you know what? I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I think I'll actually come back this afternoon, maybe about 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. We'll do some more stuff. I've still got Asia and Iran. I've still got Elon. I've still got some more fun little lore stuff. I hope you guys had fun. I certainly did. Trying to get back into streaming. I don't know when I will be streaming when Nyannis comes back. I don't normally schedule myself around other streamers, but I do have respect for her, and I appreciate being part of her community and being allowed to help moderate. So I don't want to step on too many toes. So I don't know precisely what my schedule will be. I don't know if I'll go in the late afternoon or evening. I've obviously got other things to do and other parts of my own life I've got to take care of. But I'm going to try to keep this up at least 3 or 4 times a week. As the news comes up, I'm going to try to keep things organized. Going to try to keep the workflow going. I'm going to try to, do my due diligence and have my research all in order. Probably, I'm going to try to be a little bit more focused and not yap as much as Nyannis does. but I'm definitely susceptible to getting taken off into weird tangents where I start diving into the internet. It's one of my favorite pastimes. But hey, thanks so much for coming out. If you don't mind, before you leave, hit the thumbs up. It's probably not going to push me high in the algorithm, but it's always nice to see some thumbs up, especially when you're just starting out and trying to build up a channel that on a platform you don't use that often or have never really used before for this purpose. But I hope you guys have a great day. If you're around in a couple hours, you want to come back, I'll be here, most likely. I'll let you know. So y'all take it easy, all right? Bye-bye.